Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Great American Speedway live tonight on LSRTV and iRacing Live, the 2016 United Sim Racing Truck Series Chase for the Championship, presented by B&C Lawn and Landscaping Services and Simlution Simulation Solutions. Takes two, the Texas Motor Speedway, for round number 6 of 30 on the 2016 racing campaign. We're getting set for 167 laps of action at the Wild Asphalt Circus and the USR American Sniper 500. We're happy to have you with us. It's LSRTV night on iRacing Live, topside at a booth. Myself, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Cisco Scaramuza downstairs. We're happy to have you along for the ride, and we're excited because round number 6 seems like quite the random date, Andy, but this is something that these guys have been buying for all season long, and maybe after tonight we'll actually start talking about the championship down the line. But tonight, the person who walks out of Texas as your points leader going to walk away with a place seat racing rig courtesy of our friends at Simlutions, and that's really the big storyline coming into tonight's race. But it is going to be a long and grueling 167 circuits around this 1.5 miler in order to get there, and in order for whoever walks out on top of the pile to be able to claim really what is a championship caliber prize that hangs in the balance.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, typically you'll see that type of gift or prize handed out at the end of the long season for a champion, but this one here, after 6 races, the championship leader, and we got ourselves quite a battle. Of course, Jamie Walker having a little bit of issues last week, having a penalty on pit road with that green flag race that we had at Auto Club Speedway. It made it interesting. It closed the gap just a bit, at least for 2 guys. Tim Matthews has an opportunity tonight as well to take over that. The problem is he's going to have to find a lot of speed on the racetrack, because although he's got a decent qualifying spot, of course, you got to look at the top of the board right now why they're still qualified. Jamie Walker right up there at the top as well. Texas, though, when you think of Texas and you think of trucks, you think, why not? These guys put on a great show when you come to this racetrack. Slipping and sliding, an old surface. Tires are definitely a factor when you come to this racetrack. And with that said, 167 laps, 250 miles, very long race. And with these small fuel cells, you're looking at about 25 to 30 laps on a fuel run. So there's going to be, not only are the guys going to be having a handful on the racetrack, but the guys on pit road as well are going to be very busy tonight.
That's right. The Speedway hosts to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, WinStar World Casino and Resort 400. Tonight it is, though, the USR American Sniper 500. We look forward into round number 6. Let's take a look at your championship standings. It is Jamie Walker at the top of the pile, defending Truck Series champion from over the winter break. Tim Matthews only 7 points behind Greg Mall, Christopher Hurlow, Aaron Bennett inside the top 5. We'll talk about the chase cutoff so far, so early in the season at a moment, Andy, but I want to talk numbers about the guys up at the front. Jamie Walker has 198 laps led. Tim Matthews, only 7 points behind him, has just 21 laps led. So while Walker has been by far and large the class of the field all season long, he's not the driver with most wins. That goes to Aaron Bennett, P5. So he's good, but he's within reach. I don't think 7 points has him feeling all that comfortable into tonight's race, because it's a long way to the chase, the ultimate goal, top 12 of the points. But he wants that place seat racing ring without a doubt, and I don't think he can really afford to take it easy. Now, that being said, in 5 races, he hasn't finished outside the top 10. Neither has Tim Matthews, P2. I'm expecting a good fight.
Yeah, this definitely should be a good fight. And, you know, honestly, Jamie Walker, like we say it week in and week out, He's just such a consistent driver, whether it's starting in front of the field like he does every week or whether it's his finish that's always inside the top 5. He's one of those guys that it's going to be a mistake that's going to catch him off guard. And that's exactly what it was last week at Auto Club, a mistake on pit road. And he never really was able to get back up into the top 10 and stay there. He finished in the 9th spot there at the end after that long run, but it was tough for him to make up that time. So, without something like that happening tonight, which we could see some green flag stops here at this track. So, a mistake on pit road could definitely cost Jamie Walker again, but the same goes for Tim Matthews as well. He's got to be spot on all night as well.
The thing that's going to be working in favor, I think, of some green flag pit stops is the 60% fuel cell that these guys run. Other than that, Texas, known for a place where these guys like to get down to the nitty-gritty and get a little bit physical. So I'm expecting a decent balance of the both. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, some of the other housekeeping items to mention that these drivers do have one faster pair sitting in the back pocket. The cause of the caution will receive an end of the longest line penalty, and the weather settings into tonight's race randomized from the prior week. It is round number 6 in 2016. We've left Fontana to the books. You mentioned that one, Aaron Bennett. That's exactly where he picked up his second career trip to victory lane on the season, and overall put himself up into the 10th spot for the most wins all time. But we're just about set to get ready to take on the USR American Sniper 500 qualifying, single truck qualifying, just about to the books. So we'll toss things down now trackside, down with Jaded Berkey for the performance of tonight's national anthem as we get set to rock and roll.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
A big thanks to the virtual Thunderbirds, and as well a big thanks to Jaded Berkey for the performance of tonight's national anthem. They've rolled the trucks out to the front straightaway here in Fort Worth, Texas. Let's take a look trackside at your BNC Lawn and Landscaping Services Texas starting grid. Surprise, surprise, you could rack it up as pole number 3 in 6 starts this season. The number 17 Mountain Dew Chevrolet of Jamie Walker will bring us to the green flag tonight. Right alongside him, the number 7 of Cody Gibson. Greg Mall, second best at a practice session. He'll roll for the inside of row 2, the High Life Chevrolet in 3rd, and Aaron Bennett outside in the BNC Chevrolet P4. Running out your top 5 back one more row. That's the 54 of Tim Matthews.
Just to Tim's outside in that 87 truck. That's where you'll find Christopher Herlow starting 6th. 7th, we'll go to the 2 truck of Ricky Howell Jr. Tyler Herr in the 19. He's going to start in that 8th spot. 9th goes to Todd Kirkwood, and 10th is the 82 of Chris Baines.
Behind in P11, the number 66 of Brian Harvey. Outside on row 6, P12 to the 51 of Daniel Robertson. James Thorndike, you might be unlucky, you might be lucky to be number 13 tonight. P14 will go to the 3 of Keith Butt, and Paul Madison will round out your top 15 in Q.
The 91 of Steve Gottschalk will start 16th. 17th goes to Scott Simley. Paul Fugit will start 18th. 19th goes to Jeff Ryan, and George Hendricks will start 20th.
And then 21st tonight, the final driver to put down a time in Q, the number 30 of Mark W. Wilson. Provisionals going to be extended 22nd through 24th to Brian Cutts, Tom Dryling, and Stephen Herring to round out a full field of 24 trucks, 12 rows front to back. So the pace car going to roll, lights off, one more time around, and we're going to get set to get underway. Andy, round number 6. It's Texas. It's a 1.5 miler, but it's bad fast at that. One of, I think, my more favorite tracks to see these guys compete at.
Yeah, it definitely is. I talked about it a little before. Texas just is one of those mile and a halves that I think suits the trucks very well. It's a slippery racetrack. Tires go away rather quickly. It's very abrasive, so it lends for, it puts a lot into the driver's hands as far as car control, especially off of turns 2 and 4. So we got a lot to look forward to, I think, in this one, and it's a long, long race. So these guys got to be very patient early on and make sure they don't use up that only reset that they do have.
We're happy to have you with us right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing as well. Hello to all tuning in with us here on iRacing Live. Check us out, livesimracing.com or facebook.com/livesimracingtv for more information. The pace car going to duck down and away. It's time to rock and roll. A place seat, boys, hangs in the balance. And we get set to go racing from the Texas Motor Speedway. Jamie Walker will bring us into the American Ethanol restart zone at 65 miles an hour. Green flag waves. We're underway for the Great American Speedway. Jamie Walker, championship leader, defending Truck Series champion. He leads to turn number 1, but a good run on the inside. But Greg Mall not giving up anything. He'll slot to P2 after starting in 3rd, and that leaves Cody Gibson from the outside of the front row to battle for P3. Behind to his inside is the 54 of Matthews.
Yeah, we saw that 12 of Greg Mall show a lot of speed last week at Auto Club Speedway. Not surprised to see him with a good qualifying effort as well. Plus to see him right there, right now, trying to battle for that race lead. But just behind him, that's where the battle is going on. Side by side still for that 3rd spot as Cody Gibson tries to work that high side, tries to keep the momentum up, which is very key in driving these trucks around these racetracks, is keeping that momentum up. You want to make sure you have top speed all the way down these straightaways here. As you can see right there, using that outside. He's able to stick with them for now, but eventually that bottom side's going to prevail as off of turn number 4. Tim Matthews just very so slightly can't pull up to the top side right now. And you got Ricky Howell Jr. in the 2 truck trying to take advantage as well.
And the outside, it could be an option later, but right there you saw the 2 of Ricky Howell Jr. slot up to the door, and it's actually going to open up the door for the number 7 Cody Gibson to now get single file behind Matthews. The inside, I was just going to say, as the course of a run goes on, the inside going to be much harder and harder to hold, and once guys start to slide up, the outside going to be a much better option, especially once you get rubber down on the track. These guys started with no rubber usage at the beginning of practice. They went through practice in Q. The rubber continues to build up, but really the biggest changes are going to come over the course of the next 160 laps to get down to that final run through to the checkered flag. So outside, not really the place you want to be now, but Cody Gibson, I think, worked it fairly well, all things considered. He does lose 2 spots. He qualified P2. He runs at a P4 right now, but I don't think it's that bad of a deal. And now you'll find the 82 of Chris Baines in the exact same position. The BNC Chevrolet up on the outside of the racetrack. The 2 of Howell Jr. challenged it on the inside, and you kind of get nervous if that guy in your bottom likes to slide up in turn 1. Almost did it again that time, and it looks like you might win that battle off of turn number 2. Real close up on that 82, pushing him all the way to the fence.
Oh, yeah, that was real close right there. Wiggled a little coming off of turn number 2 and almost made contact with Tyler Herr in that 19 truck as well. So the outside lane, they can hold some speed out there. Just not looking like, at least for the time being, why these tires are still fresh. That bottom side still has the advantage. You can see that 19 now with Tyler Herr move to the inside of Chris Baines in that 82. He will make that position count now as they exit the corner. Here comes Christopher Herlo, who's dropped back since the start of this race, along with that 33 of Aaron Bennett. Aaron Bennett had started up in that 4th spot and currently shown on the board at 9th. That is the battle. He just got 8th place now over his teammate there, Chris Baines, in the 82. So just ahead of these guys, though, it's still heating up. It's the 19 of Tyler Herr now looking for another spot, heading back into 1.
And that battle is 2.4 seconds off of the race lead. Jamie Walker almost a second out in front of Greg Mall, who runs P2. Speaking of the two, Howell close to turn 2 all that time. He's really struggling down on that end of the racetrack. Not so much in 3 and 4. He's able to keep the truck much lower on track, but he does lose the spot to Tyler Herr. Moved number 19 up now to P5 this time by the start-finish line, and one truck gets by, bring another one on through. How about Christopher Hurlow, the number 87 Toyota, coming up the bottom, the Boomtown Sim entry, side by side, coming off of turn 2, and Aaron Bennett, who talked about, has got a front row seat of all the action down the back straightaway. So far, though, I think the inside has much more of the upper hand based on what we've seen in the opening 8 laps.
Yeah, it definitely has. You're able to at least hang on for a little bit on the outside and at least keep those guys on the bottom honest. You're not going to be able to really make up any ground on that outside, at least right now for the time being. And you can see him struggling. You can see Cody Gibson in the 7 lose another spot right there to Tyler Herr. He got pushed up to the outside, and that allowed him to lose some ground and lose another spot. So we'll move that 19 now up to the 4th spot. Definitely one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack is that number 19 right now, and we'll see if he can close the gap at all on any of these front runners, at least the front 2 right now. He's got quite a bit of distance to make up.
And now I think single file inside the top 5 for one of the first times tonight. The action inside the top 10 doesn't seize. Close call there on the inside. Brian Harvey just about got on that left rear of the 2 Howell. It was too close for comfort. The 2 machine, they were about maybe an inch or 2 apart, but they stayed side by side, and that's because, again, the tires already beginning to wear away now. 10 laps in, the inside much more difficult to hold down in turns 1 and 2. You'll see Howell slot in line, and he'll basically push to 66 all the way. Aggressive move on the inside of turn 1. Keith Butt on the attack. He can't hold it down, though. He'll slot up just a little bit, but keep the inside. The run off the bank, it off the corner, going to give Howell the advantage. That 2 truck just can't get out of the mess.
We've been saying that since the drop of the green flag. Everything around that 2 just feels
Oh, there
so
we go.
cool.
Hard
It
hit.
finally
Howell's
makes
gonna
some
go up
contact
into
right there in the
outside
middle of the
wall.
corners. He'll go
hang
up
on
to
to
the
it, but
top,
I think
yeah.
that might have been a little bit of an kill there. They were on each other's door. It reacted violently, like he almost got hit really hard, Andy, in that driver's side door. If almost like the left front tire went out, it shot straight up to the fence. I'm surprised that truck's still in one piece. It looks surprisingly good, and guess what? He just finds himself in one more side-by-side battle, this time with George Hendricks.
Yeah, he can't get cleared of anybody right now, it seems. There's some room behind the 68. Hopefully his spotter's telling him that.
Oh, not again!
Jeez, they get so. I'm telling you, there must be a magnet on that 2 truck tonight, Evan, because anytime he's around anybody, he's got some clear sailing now, so he's able to get around the 34, George Hendricks. But, man, he needs some clean air, so nobody around him for the time being, and see if he can get that handling, that truck to be able to drive the line he wants to drive, because he's had some trouble over the last 10 laps or so.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's going to be able to actually maintain the number 15 position. Too many close calls for my comfort. Scott Simley also going to take advantage of the slow lap around by the 34. So Hendricks, who picked up 4 spots early, he'll drop back to 17th position, give Scott Simley his first position gain on the night. He takes over the number 16 spot away. Again, this all going on well behind your leaders. The top 10 are single file at the time being. A little bit of a challenge into turn number 3 from Aaron Bennett. Nothing comes from it quite yet, but he's got his sights set on Christopher Hurlow, the 87, quiet so far tonight. Started P6, strides right now in P6. Bennett, though, a good point that you made, Andy, is he started P4. He fell deep inside of the top 10 very abruptly at the start of this race. We were talking about the disadvantages of starting on the outside lane on the restart. Kicked him back to 9th spot. He's been playing catch-up ever since, and he's doing fairly well, back up to P7. Still 3 spots back, though, from where he found himself on the grid, and I'm sure he would like to get at least back up to there so he can get back to square one and then try to dig inside of a podium position.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the type of the race, the feel we got right now. Green flag since the beginning. This is a type of race where Aaron Bennett actually really shines. These caution-free races, we saw him get his first win of the season at Atlanta. It was the same thing. The only caution we had came out with 3 laps to go, so that really didn't have to, hurt him at all with a restart or anything like that. But it was definitely his type of race. No mistakes on pit road. We saw it again last week. No mistakes on pit road. Just very consistent lap after lap with the long runs. They definitely helped that 33 truck, so we'll see how it goes here tonight as long as we can stay in the green flags.
The leader wants to set sail. Jamie Walker is 0.9 of a second in front of the number 12 of Greg Mall, who runs in the number 2 position. Tim Matthews is third. Tyler Herr is fourth. And Cody Gibson rides right now inside of P5, but that's already about a 3-second split amongst those 5 drivers up towards the front of the field. Good little bit battling deeper in the pack. Let's take a look at the 51. Daniel Robertson, he's in 14th on the attack. Ricky Howell Jr., the 2 machine, will say it again. He's having an eventful evening, trying to make his way back up through the field. He'll get 1 spot back, takes P14 away from Robertson. Robertson now -3 on the start of this race, and Madison's coming slow off the corner. Paul Madison's 15, not a good run at a turn 2. He checks it up, and he'll absolutely get jumped on top of. 3 wide to the inside. There's contact. The 51, he'll shoot back up the hill into the number 15. The caution flag will fly. And somehow, and now a hard hit behind. Looked like it was over. Jeff Ryan, the Mountain Dew Chevrolet, he'll be involved as well. First caution on the night, a big one. It comes at lap number 18.
Yeah, it was just a product right there. I don't think the 51 realized that the 68 Assembly was coming down to the inside like that. And why not? He left the whole bottom lane, 2 or 3 lanes there. It looked like on the bottom side going into turn number 3 were wide open. For Scott Simley, so he took advantage of it, dropped down there. I don't think the 51 was expecting him there, and when he came down, it almost looked like it surprised him a little, and he went back up the racetrack, made contact, and that's all was said and done. Then, like you said, I thought it was over, but then that 88 just could not get wound up in time. He came in after a while from those trucks being stopped and ran right into the back of him. So a few guys, they're going to be having to use their reset here in this first opening caution.
And I like to give guys benefit of the doubt coming in late to some of the accidents. I think that one could have easily been avoided if you're Jeff Ryan. The 88 caution was well out, but he didn't see the cars in turn 4 when he was in 3. He stayed on the gas, and then he just hesitated when he got up to him, and the car just went in turn. He locked him up, and he just basically skidded right into those stationary vehicles. A pretty big wreck. 4 cars total going to be involved. Similarly on the inside, who is near the start of the contact, is not going to be involved. And Howell Jr. is thankful that he got out of there just in the nick of time. That could have easily been him based on all the action that he's been in tonight. So with that, lap number 20 going to open pit road for the first time tonight under the caution flag. Jamie Walker going to bring us down, and he's got a long trip to the end at 50 miles an hour to the number 1 pit stall.
Yeah, the interesting part about this one's going to be where they come out. We saw that top side on the restart or on the opening start of the race not be the place you want to be, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out in those spots, those even-numbered spots here off of pit road. But it looks like 4 tires and fuel for everyone involved, and just as they came in, the top 2, they're going to come out as 1-2 is Jamie Walker with that first pit stall. We'll get that spot back, but racing everyone off of pit road. Tim Matthews third off of pit road as well, so looks like that. The only one looks like lost some time there, the 19 of Tyler Herr. Looks like he lost about 5 or 6 spots. Not sure if there's a penalty there for that 19 truck or what, but Tyler Herr definitely the big loser on pit road.
He lost plenty of time, and he came into the pit stall. He took 4 tires and got back out. They didn't see any sort of penalty. He looked like he was just slow getting off of the jack. If you would expect a penalty, you might think, 10, 15 seconds. He really just waited 2 or 3 seconds after the left sides were done before he took off. So it's going to cost him a couple of spots. We'll see what that puts him. It'll put him mid-pack as well. There is the possibility. I know we talked about the quick fixes, Andy, and you just whispered it in my ear. We also have the option in the sim to use that quick fix or not. And if you're not familiar with the iRacing service, the quick fix is basically you get the backup truck out. It doesn't matter how damaged your vehicle is. It goes to rate like it just came out of the factory. But you don't have to use that. It used to be if you had damage and you had a quick fix, you pit, you use up your quick fix. Well, now you have the option. If the drivers are deciding, if the damage is very minimal, they don't use it, and you might sit down there for a couple of extra seconds to wait around and get that damage repaired. But you also see some guys who get a fair amount of damage, save the quick fix for later in the race. Sure, they know that they'll be off pace early, but they would rather save that quick fix for later when it's go time, as opposed to using it up in the opening 20 laps of this race, then getting in another accident and not having that option. So that also could be a strategy that Tyler Herr was playing out, or he was just trying to drop to the back a little bit. I don't think it would be that third one, because he's going to find himself right in the thick of things. I'm showing him scored a P13 at the moment. But who knows? We're going to double them up, I think, next time back around. The thing that doesn't change at the front is Jamie Walker is going to be in the race lead. Tom Dryerling stayed out, took a bonus point, but he has since come down to the pit lane. So the 17 will indeed bring us back across, with Greg Ball right behind him in second, just as they were before.
Yeah, we talked about Jamie Walker leading the most laps so far in the first 5 races, and quite honestly, the majority of those had came in the last 2 races. I led a race high of 115 or 20, something like that, in that race at Phoenix. That really put him on the board. So the first 3 races, he was running up front. Like we mentioned, he's got a top 5 finish or top 10 finish in every single one of the races so far this season. But those first 3 races really wasn't that guy out front leading a lot of laps. And but since then, since that race at Phoenix when he got his first win, he led a bunch of laps last week as well, right before he had that issue on pit road. So since then, he's been that guy up front with the poles, getting the pole positions and leading a whole bunch of laps. So he continues to do that. He's led all 22 so far tonight.
It'll be Jamie Walker, Greg Mall, and Tim Matthews. 1, 2, 3 for the restart. Coincidentally enough, those are the drivers 1, 2, and 3 in the championship. Coming up for this one. The pace car going to swing to the inside. Going to be the first American ethanol restart on the evening, as the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT slides to the wayside. Walker going to go right away. Green flag back in here. The Young Guns Motorsport Chevrolet. He takes off for the race lead, but a good jump from behind. Greg Ball, he'll trail him right down to turn 1.
Yeah, Greg Mall's not going to let that second starting position allow him to fade in the back. He's going to be able to drop right back behind. And look at Cody Gibson starting in the outside again. He's going to lose a spot to that 87 right now as they race back into turn number 3. We saw him work the outside and do pretty well at it, but he wasn't able to pass anybody or keep his position. We see right there as he slides behind Christopher Herlo. That'll drop him back 1 position from the start. Still a top 5 so far for Cody Gibson. The real side-by-side battle is right behind him right there, as you see the 33 now of Aaron Bennett to the outside. And looking right now, he just gave up another position there to Keith Butt, finally now able to single file it out.
We know what happened to Bennett and Gibson on the start of this race. They lost plenty more spots than Greg Mall did, who was able to maintain P2 after being on the outside of the front row. One part of that is because Jamie Walker got so far out in front that the inside was open, but also it really wasn't a stellar restart for Tim Matthews either. The 54 inside to row 2. He'll maintain in third as we get things now back wound up and back up to speed. Battle inside of the top 10, actually just at the tail end. The top 10, it is for P10. James Thorndike, the number 59 U.S. Army Chevrolet. He'll swing to the outside of the racetrack. Tyler Herr trying to get back inside of the top 10 where he started in 8th. He'll take that position away through turn number 4.
And Tyler Herr was one of those guys as well, along with Jamie Walker last week. They had problems on pit road. His truck, he couldn't get any fuel in it on his green flag pit stop. He had to come all the way back around and in again, and he spent the rest of the race as well, fighting to get every possible position that he could get back before the end of that thing. So another fast truck that had problems last week, and right here now with those sitting on pit road a little bit extra time there, maybe to get that fender bent back out, it's going to make him now have to fight his way back up through this traffic. So still started in the 8th spot. He currently runs 10th right now. But it looks like there's some contact right in front of these guys with Keith Butt and Aaron Bennett, as it looks like the 82 having some connection issues.
He's having some internet issues down in turn number 2. The contact amongst the 3 in company has come and gone, and it really wasn't that big of a hit. They just kind of brushed up at each other's door. But if you want to be concerned, watch out if you're Keith Butt, because the 82 is having some severe connection problems down to turn number 1. You don't see it all the time, but every once in a while it'll happen here on the sim, and he's up into the outside wall as well. And the problem for the guys around him is they just don't know where he is, and I would be surprised if he stays out on track for any more than 1 additional lap, or he's going to be black flagged if not disqualified. He's holding the top side. I get that. You're trying to get out of the way. But again, it's just always a hazard, even if you're trying to keep as much distance, because you really don't control where your car is going inside of those connection blips. But he slides behind most of the battles. It is going to hurt him if he can get it fixed, and it doesn't really park him for the rest of the night. It's going to suck because he's going to lose tons of positions as he slides back there trying to get that situation relegated. So we'll see if the number 82 can get it figured out, but so far, no bueno.
No, not able to do that. Probably have to reset. So it looks like he's just in and out right now. So a good thing by him getting up to the top side, letting these guys get around him. You don't want to be the cause of that or have somebody have some issues because of that connection issue that you have. But that way he gets out of the way and everybody up front keeps on going, and we stay green flag racing. And that separation of where he was separated the 33 and the 3 for a moment. Like Keith Butt and Tyler Herr now starting to close the gap on that 33 of Aaron Bennett, and that will be a battle for the 7th spot.
P2 is 7/10 of a second behind your leader, so Jamie Walker continues to be the fastest driver on the racetrack. No surprise there. We did note, though, he's only got one trip to victory lane. I say only because it's somewhat surprising to us to get based on the numbers. The most impressive stat is he's had an average start of a 1.8. And a possible problem for your second place runner, just talking about Greg Mall 7/10 back. He's back on a racetrack now, P2. He as well is showing some signs of a connection problem. I'm showing Mall Fugate as well with some concerning numbers on the connection side of things, which again, it's not always something that you see on the broadcast, and it appears kind of funky over the TV, but it is, I say, our equivalency of a mechanical failure. It is something that happens in sim racing. It is extremely difficult to prevent or manage when it happens. You just have to hope that it doesn't bite you. And Greg Mall in P2, one of those drivers that enters tonight 14 points behind Jamie Walker in the battle for the championship lead and the battle to walk away with that play seat sim racing rig courtesy of Simulation Solutions at the end of the night. He definitely does not want to see anything along those lines take him out of the race.
No, and you're talking points. I mean, even not if he does the way Jamie Walker's running right now, Jamie would have to have some major catastrophe for Greg Mall to make up those 14 points. But in the grand scheme of things, even though they're racing for a play seat for at the end of this race, they still got a long season to go. Still got 24 races to go to settle the championship. So you don't want to lose a whole lot of points. It doesn't matter any point of the season that you're in. So for Greg Mall, it's just one of those cross your fingers and hope everything works out.
Problems down the backstretch to turn number 3, the number 34 of Glenn Hendricks. Backwards at a turn number 2, and it is going to be, looks like a single car accident. It looked like he got a little bit high off of 2, smacked the wall with the passenger side, and Hendricks sputtered around, locked it up, and for the most part, kept it out of the wall, but he did get some front-end damage once he made that second little bit of contact. Thankfully, nobody else came in and bonsai'd him, so it'll be a single truck accident down the back straightaway. Second time the yellow flag will wave this evening.
Yeah, we talked about that in the pre-race. Turns 2 and 4 being pretty treacherous, especially as the tires wear out. And these guys were on a pretty decent run about halfway through a fuel run. So right there, the truck just got a little tight coming off the corner, 34. Not being able to get that thing turned down to keep it off the wall. And once you hit that wall like you did, you're already pointing the wheels to the left. So once you hit that wall, it really just sends you to the left and down to the inside. So that's exactly right there what we had. Our second caution of the night, a single truck spin. So for everybody else, good job getting around him and being able to dodge that, especially that 4 truck, Brian Cutts, who was right behind him when he hit that wall. So he did a good job just being able to get by.
That means more pit service under the caution flag. Second time service comes under the yellow tonight. Jamie Walker leads us down yet again. Last time, everybody was in agreement that 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel was the call to go. We'll see what they do this time, and if everybody wants to stray from that strategy, looks like right side's up, left side's up, going to come down, drag race off of the pit lane, basically non-existent, and it will once again be the number 17 Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Jamie Walker will continue to control the pace here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We'll take this opportunity to step away for a quick TV timeout, and when we return, we'll be back for the second restart off of a caution flag on the evening. You're watching the 2016 United Sim Racing Truck Series presented by BNC Lawn and Landscaping Services and Simlutions here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We're back live at the Texas Motor Speedway. The pace car about to swing down to the left, and we're going to go back green for the second time tonight. It'll be the third time if you include the drop of the first green flag. It'll be Jamie Walker on the inside of the front row, Greg Mall P2, but how about Christopher Hurlow, the number 87, going to put himself in third. Green flag waves yet again, back at it. Texas Motor Speedway, and now 3 wide, a big check up in the middle of the pack. They scatter down in the grass as Aaron Bennett. He'll cut the pit lane short. There's going to be multiple penalties handed out, and it's a parking lot down in turn number 1. Somehow no caution. Daniel Robertson, he's stationary on the racetrack, and for the love of God, where's the yellow?
It looked like it all started with the 3 of Keith Butt just missing a shift or something like that. It stacked up that whole bottom side. Aaron Bennett was the first one to go down through the grass right there. And if the maintenance guys didn't get it cut low enough, the 33 sure made sure it was done.
We're going to take a look at the replay, and again, you saw all the contact. To be fair, some of it was off of the racetrack, and now there's somebody sitting sideways in the middle of the back straightaway. I saw your leaders just narrowly get by. That's the number 15 of Paul Madison trying to limp back home down to the pit lane, and the only situation that was as chaotic as turn 1, Andy, must have been the guys in the flag stand, because they might have dropped the yellow flag. They didn't have it, and now you got tons of damaged trucks out on the racetrack. You see topside, the Wonder Bread, number 30 Chevrolet, and Mark Wilson. He's heavily torn up. as we come back to live action here at Texas. Jamie Walker didn't get to see most of that because he's been out in front. That took out a lot of people mid-packet as well. Aaron Bennett, a couple of other guys, they either spun or ducked to the inside, Andy, to avoid the accident, and actually went in between the pit road exit cone and the inside wall. So technically they were on the pit lane, so they may be penalized for an unsafe pit entry and speeding on pit road, and that'll hold them for quite some time in their box if they can't get that cleared from the tower.
Yeah, it looks like the tower cleared most of those guys here, is what it looks like. But, yeah, that was kind of a freaky thing there. Missed a shift, might have blown up the car there is what we're hearing from that 3 of Keith Butt. So, yeah, that's a big issue right there. Caused a huge checkup. Damage for the 33 on the front end of him, too. So it's dropped him back 6 seconds now from the race lead. Aaron Bennett now to 12th. That's not what he wanted when he was trying to get another win and back up his win from last week. But up front, a lot of different names up front now. Christopher Herlo, after starting in that 6th spot, he's all the way up to 2nd after coming out of the pit road in the 3rd spot. So good job by the 87. The problem is it doesn't look like at this point anyway, nobody has any speed for that 17 machine. Jamie Walker's still pulling out away from Christopher Herlo now, who sits in that 2nd spot.
And Herlo doing a much better job than what we saw Greg Mall be able to do, who, interestingly enough, and all of that fell to P6 in the Miller Chevrolet. He's got Matthews, Gibson, Herlo between him and Jamie Walker at the front of the field, but are much tighter on this run to your leader than they have been in runs previous. And again, maybe just a little bit of change of pace with who's running where can apply to that, but also maybe some of these guys maybe adjusting to the racetrack as it gets rubbered in, making small adjustments on the racetracks when they were down on pit road, because Hurler, he was faster than Walker the last time, so Christopher Herlo closed it in. The gap was 3/10, Andy, probably going to be under 2 because he's hauling the mail down the back straightaway, just about 5 truck lengths off the back bumper of that Mountain Dew Chevrolet, who has really been uncontested tonight. Yeah,
he has been uncontested, but it looks like that 87 has found some speed right now because, like you said, over the last couple laps, he's gained about 1.5 over the last 2 laps averaged out, so. And as your leader now, if Jamie Walker catches up on a lap truck, that 51 machine of Daniel Robertson, he's going to pull way down to the bottom here and let the leaders go, but that won't cause them to at least catch up right there, and that'll still continue the battle there. 3rd on back, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They're pretty close, though, as they exit turn number 4, and those 3 trucks still trying to figure out how they can get some speed and catch up to that leader as well. And you got Tim Matthews right there, 2nd in points, 7 points back. He's right there in the mix as well still.
Those 17 trucks ride on the lead lap at lap number 48 of 167 tonight, just inside of 120 laps to go from the wild asphalt circus of Texas Motor Speedway, and Jamie Walker starting to get the pace back just a little bit. We saw Mark Wilson ride the outside about 2 laps off of the restart, and you can tell how bad the damage is on that truck. Really, he's hoping for a yellow, but it almost might be quicker for him at this point if he has a quick fix available, which I'm unsure of, to just come down pit road and take it now, because he's losing tons of time out there on the racetrack. Already 2, and now that most recent time through, now falling 3 laps to the negative after running inside of the top 20 at the point of the incident back down into turn number 1. Herlo no longer running up on the 17. In fact, the 17 a whole 10th better that last time by. The gap almost back at 5/10 now at lap number 50, and Cody Gibson, the number 7, likes to be quiet, but I'll tell you what, keep an eye on him as he creeps his way back up through the field. Cody looking for his first trip to victory lane in 2016. He's got an average finish of a 10.0, and for the results have been showing for him, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, trying to break through right here, riding in P3, and he's bringing friends, Tim Matthews as well, right there in tow. Going to be a 3-truck battle, I think, for P2.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about it yet here tonight, but the draft for these trucks plays a factor as well. And you can see once Cody Gibson kind of got into that wake of Christopher Herlo, he was able to close that gap rather quickly now as he's on the back bumper here through turns 3 and 4 right now. And you can see him really start to close that gap. Now look to the inside as they go through the tri-oval. So that 7 truck now trying to move up to that 2nd spot. Christopher Herlo struggling now since the restart. He's going to have himself a battle now with 2 trucks looking to the inside as they exit turn number 2.
It is a side-by-side fight, and the 54 behind Tim Matthews has to decide, should I go high, should I go low? So far, the bottom's been the place to be, and it's going to be what gives Cody Gibson the number 2 spot. In fact, dropped 2 positions for the 87, down in turns 3 and 4 alone. It'll be Gibson P2, with the 54 Matthews up to 3rd, and Christopher Hurlow now falls back to P4. The 54, he'll force his way up the inside of the racetrack. He wants the bridesmaid position at the moment, and with that, a big run for Hurlow down the back straightaway. He could have made it 3 wide if he wanted to. They stayed 2 abreast to turn number 3. What an aggressive move by Tim Matthews, but Cody Gibson giving him more resistance than I think he was expecting, and we're not done yet. Throw the 19 of Tyler Herr into the bottom.
Yeah, they're all starting to close in now as these guys run side by side for a couple of laps now. That's going to bring everybody up there. Greg Malla also starting to come into the picture now. They're going to settle it out through 1 and 2, and Tim Matthews now will have sole possession of that 2nd spot. Cody Gibson now back to the 3rd, but he's got a mirror full still of that 87 machine of Christopher Hurlow. But look at Tyler Herr now looking to the outside of the 87. It's an interesting line right there. We haven't seen anybody really try that move to at least get the pass. He's going to decide better of it now as he falls back in line with Christopher Hurlow. But you can see that draft work for the 19, really close the gap on the 87. He's just got to time it just right coming off the corners. He might be able to get a good run like he did right there off of turn number 2. You got Tyler Herr right on the back bumper, now looking to the inside for that 4th spot.
Side by side they go, and Greg Mall wants to get back into the conversation. He's been the number 2 runner for the most of the night, but fell back on the most recent restart. He's stuck in behind in that 2 wide scenario. If it was lap 156, he probably would have made it 3 wide, but seeing as we still have over 110 laps to go here at Texas, he'll wait for the time being. Puts the left side tires nice close down to the apron in turn number 2, and really just has to wait at this point. Again, 2 wide, by all means not the fastest way around the Texas Motor Speedway. The 19, he got too low onto the apron. He'll save it once, he saves it twice, and he will spin it coming off of turn number 4. Caution flag will wave as he comes to a stop backwards in the tri-oval grass.
Yeah, big problems right there. Touching the apron at these 1.5 miles, it really upsets the trucks tremendously, and we saw it right there. And the whole reason for that is basically you're up on the banking. You get that tire down below that white line, all of a sudden the track's flat down there, so it really upsets the trucks, makes you really, really loose. And the problem for Tyler Herr right there, he would have had it saved, but that 12 was so close to that back bumper when he got loose that there was nothing that 12 Greg Mall could do. He just made some contact there, and it almost looked like the 19 was saving, but he'll lose a bunch of positions right here in the caution out for the 3rd time.
Yeah, and that's why I noted that the 12 had the left side tires of the white line in turn 2 just a couple of seconds before, because it is an aggressive move, and he saved it once, saved it twice. He almost saved it 3 times because the 12 couldn't get off of him. Eventually, he spun it out and he locked it up so that he wouldn't come back up into traffic, and they'll take the yellow flag as opposed to putting 4 trucks on the back of the flatbed, so the caution flag is back out here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We group up behind the pace car, and we do it behind J.B. Walker, and I'm sure we're going to be coming down for 4 more tires this time.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. 4 tires is the call. I just don't think you're going to see anybody try it. If they do, it'd probably be pretty foolish at this point in the race. We've got so much time left in this race that, maybe a late race restart or something like that to try it. If you don't have many laps on those left side tires, maybe just try the right size. But look at the ground that Jamie Walker was able to pull up on Tim Matthews there. That was probably, I would say that was a mistake right there for Tim Matthews coming on the pit road. He should have been right up on that back bumper. That would have gave him an opportunity maybe to get the race lead off of pit road. But right there, that gap that he left there is definitely going to hurt him on this pit stop.
Yeah, Jamie Walker accelerated onto the pit lane. Nothing wrong with it. He didn't pass the pace car on the way down. That's something that you'll see a lot under the caution flag. Pit stops to try to get yourself some extra space, and he'll get his service. He'll get out and away, and you saw 4 tires, plus the number 1 pit stall, not even close. Hurlow going to continue the march forward on the pit lane, though. He'll go to the number 2 position. Cody Gibson going to take over 3rd. Harvey, Simley, Kuntz, Baines, Fugate, and company. Big problems for the 54 of Tim Matthews as he continues to sit in the stall. trying to see if that truck has any damage on it that he would be getting fixed. I don't think he got a penalty coming onto the pit lane, but he's still down there.
That could have been a penalty. It could have been something else going on with the truck, but definitely not something he wanted to have, only being 7 points out of that position to get that play seat, and he still continues to sit on pit road, so we'll have to see if
Truck
we can
doesn't look damaged, so I don't know.
We'll have to just see if we can maybe get word of what was going on there. We might have had to make an adjustment or something to the seat, or it could have been anything, honestly.
A lot of the times in the sim, if you have a problem, sit down there in the pit lane. Again, it could be a computer issue, could be something wrong with your wheel, your pedals, your shifter, and then also, the stuff inside the sim that we were talking about, a penalty, damage, and company. We weren't able to get to the 54 over the radio, so we'll just have to sit and wonder. But the bad news is, as you mentioned, it's going to put him well back on track now, but he's being shown in 16th position. James Thorndike, the only driver that's going to be running behind him, still on the lead lap. And for Matthews, who was 7 points off of Walker into tonight, running 17 or 16 positions behind him, is not a good position to be into if you're trying to play catch-up. But there is still plenty of time to get that position sorted back out. But with the way that they run right now, 60 laps in the works of 167 so far tonight. They're still a long way from home, but you definitely don't want to have any sort of those issues or make mistakes early. But if they're going to happen early and not happen later on in the race. So we'll see what that team's able to do. They have a fast race truck. We'll have to see how hard getting through traffic is going to be for them.
Yeah, traffic definitely a key point in this. Track position is key. I mean, it's not a difficult place. It's not one of the more difficult ones to pass people or to get around them, because you can run those multiple lanes through the corner. So it's just something we're going to have to watch for some of these guys having to come back through traffic. We saw Aaron Bennett have problems on that last restart with Keith Butt missing a shift. He fell all the way back to about the 15th spot, and right now after pit stops, you see that 33 back up in the 10th now. So it takes a little while, but for lucky enough for these guys, it's early in the race that these things are happening. So they do have plenty of time still to make up the ground. They're just gonna have to get it figured out and try to see how many spots they can pick off in between cautions or pit stops.
So the lights on top of the pace car go out. We get set to go back at it. Let's see what Christopher Hurlow can do here. He's been making up most of the spots that he has tonight, gone from P6 to P2 down pit side. Let's see if he can get the most important one on track. Jamie Walker has not been passed for the race lead under the green flag at all tonight. The only lap that he hasn't led was when a couple of guys have stayed out to get a bonus point before coming down to the pit lane. All of that has occurred, though, under a yellow flag condition. Pace car down and away. He can go from now to the drop of a green flag. 1 second hesitation. Green flag back in the air. Away we go at the Texas Motor Speedway. Walker gone, and he loves the sight behind him side by side for P2. Gibson on Hurlow.
Yeah, Hurlow having to start on the outside lane. That's going to surrender a spot now as Cody Gibson's able to get around him. Now here comes Scott Simley. We haven't talked much about him. Oh, as Hurlow gets into the wall there down the back straightaway. Doesn't look like a lot of damage, but he's going to lose 3 more spots here, as now he's got the 66 of Brian Harvey to his inside as they race their way off of turn number 4. It looks like the 82 has fixed connection issues. He's up there into the 4th spot now. But I was talking about Scott Simley being where he was in this race, started 17th. And we talked about him early on in the race with some of the battles going on around mid-pack, but look where he's come up to, the 3rd spot now. Pretty good job getting his way through traffic here early on.
Yeah, how about an impressive comeback at that for Chris Baines into number 82. Not all that long ago, we were saying that he might be done for the night. He might be black flag. Luckily, that team was able to get it fixed. He's back up to 4th, so he's got a very good truck as well. He's just in front of Brian Harvey right now at a battle for P4 and P5. Gibson, though, he's coming up on the 17. He wants to go to the point. We've been talking a lot about how that USR Toyota has yet to find victory lane in 2016. He's close, but he can't quite get to him. He's a truck length back at lap number 64.
This has been as close as anybody's been off of a restart to the back bumper of Jamie Walker. So we'll see what he can do with it here. Obviously, the draft will help him out a lot as well. A little bit higher of an entry for that 7 truck, able to turn it right down on that white line on corner exit. That's definitely been giving him a lot of speed. As you can see him really closing the gap now, about half a truck length now, the separation of the top two. Then it's about a country mile back to the 68 of Scott Simley for third, but Cody Gibson doing everything he can to at least stick with him. If you can't quite get around him, at least he's up there right now battling for that top spot.
He's in a good spot. A couple of more guys battle. Greg Mall, number 12. He'll open up the inside for Tyler Hurd to go on by. So Mall with the left front damage now on that Miller High Life Chevrolet. Not sure what he got that, but he's been a P2 truck for a lot of the night. But really things are starting to go off the deep end.
Cody Gibson just took the race lead, Evan, off of Jamie Walker. It looked like Walker saw him coming. He pulled down to the inside in turn number 3.
Let him go.
And just let him go. That was a pretty interesting move. But you know what? That's a veteran move by Walker. Realized that the 7 was coming, that he was faster, at least on this early part of the run. He said, hey, listen, go ahead, take it, and we'll see what happens from there. So we'll see as the run starts to go here, as he's pulled out about a 3 or 4 truck length lead now for that race lead Cody Gibson has. So we'll see what he can do with it, if he can maintain it or pull away even more, or if that 17's got something for him on the long run.
Yeah, I would almost want somebody to battle me for a position as opposed to giving it up. If he lets me go by that much, I'm going to almost start thinking, you know, what does he know that I don't? Or, you know, what am I doing too wrong? Because the 17, now he's P2. He's just going to follow the number 7 up at the front of the field and just kind of pace himself. Again, we haven't gone to green flag pit stops yet tonight, but these tires are going to begin to wear away once you get an access to 25, 30 laps or so. Maybe the 17 thinks the 7's pushing the issue a little bit too much and says, hey, go for it. I'll wait. And he's only 0.4 of a second back as well. If you can keep Cody Gibson within a second of him, keep him in touch, I think it would be a worthwhile move. But if the 7 really is that much quicker and consistently better, the clean air is going to help him try to get away.
It definitely will. But you know what? I go back to Jamie Walker talking about it being a veteran move, just letting him go. Why not? I mean, the guy's battling for that place, and the guy who's in second place right now, Tim Matthews, is back there in 8th. So, I mean, that one position, is it really worth early in the race battling side by side for that lead, or is it smart to just drop in line and keep that separation they had all the way back to Scott Simley? And I think a lot of that plays into it as well.
Nick, the number 87 of Christopher Hurlow, again, going to find himself in the outside wall. This time a lot harder, but it came from some contact, Andy. I think you mentioned a couple of laps ago that he actually looked to somebody's outside. He wasn't up there on his own decision. He was trying to fight back with the number 4, but he was on the outside again. And the 4 hit the apron, came up, and it pushed the 87 pretty hard into the outside wall. And Hurlow, he does have some right side battle scars to show for it. And now he and Tyler Hurd are going to do battle at a turn number 2, the number 19 machine. He'll go to the inside. Greg Mall wants the party also. 3-truck battle for 11.
Yeah, we've seen this before quite a bit, actually. And Tyler Hurd, though, good rebound for him. Got that truck fixed after that spin, and he's able to get another spot back, so that'll move him up into that 11 spot. Greg Mall as well goes around the 87, so trouble for Christopher Hurlow a couple times in the wall on this run, and it's cost him a lot of spots on the position, because on this restart, he started on the outside of that front row, and it's dropped him all the way 12 spots now since the start.
A lot of guys going forwards, a lot of guys going backwards. How about Brian Kuntz, the number 4 Chevrolet, who was the one battling and doing the fight with that 87 of Hurlow? He started 22nd tonight at a 24 on a provisional. He is running P7 right now on the racetrack. You can make it P8 the next time around, because Aaron Bennett, who started inside the top 5, showing the speed, and now the 4's really getting teamed up on, just as I mentioned that. It's the Nerfinator, Steve Gottschalk. He'll drive up the inside. He'll take another spot away as well, so you can drop Kuntz now back into the number 9 position, but still an impressive gain this early in this race. Tom Dreiling behind him, even with a fairly impressive run, started 23rd as P12 right now.
Yeah, it's a couple guys having a good, decent start to this race. Steve Herron as well started dead last on the field. He's up to 15th now from that 24 starting spot. So all the guys that took the provisional and didn't take a qualifying time, all doing pretty well here so far in this first half of the race, getting up into the top 15. So obviously some fast trucks that didn't take qualifying. So we'll see what they can do the rest of this race, see if they can get themselves possibly a podium finish or just a top 5 as well. So we'll see how that goes over the course of this one, though. The front 2, though, As the tires are starting to wear, you see that 17 starting to close that gap back on Cody Gibson now as they head back to 3.
Keeping him honest, making sure that he knows that you're not going to run away with this one. I've got your number. And in fact, he might want to challenge him because he is really putting the pedal down to the metal on the right side. Coming up to the back bumper, it is half a car length behind these guys side by side for third. Up the bottom comes Brian Harvey, and no challenge from the 82. Chris Baines in the B&C Lawn and Landscaping Chevy lets him go. That going on behind the battle for the race lead. Walker got him. Walker to the inside. Gibson, though, he's not going to roll over like the 17 did, but it's not enough to hold on. Jamie Walker will go back to the point. He just wanted to sit back, Andy, and relax for 8 laps or so. The 17 back on top.
Yeah, that's what it was. We wanted to give somebody else some laps led there, and he did that for Cody Gibson. But again, it could have been like we talked about. Just saw that 7 was maybe burning his stuff up early in the run. Said, "Hey, go ahead, take it, and you'll come back to me." And that's exactly what happened. But these guys still hold a comfortable 2-second gap over on third place, which has changed now. Brian Harvey, as Scott Simley's dropped a couple spots as well. We talked about that just a moment ago. So Brian Harvey now, a good run for him from 11th up to 3rd now.
And not that far from the halfway point we are. Cody Gibson's going to be able to stay in touch with the use of the draft, which is more prominent at one of these faster 1.5 milers like a Texas, like an Atlanta Motor Speedway. But if Jamie Walker's faster than you, it's not going to be enough to keep you with him. Maybe you can get away with it at a track like a Fontana, stay there because there's tons of draft. But if Walker's better and he's got the clean air, he's going to start to pull away. But we're not all that far out from green flag pit stops. If we see him tonight, it would be for the first time. 17 guys still run on the lead lap. But Brian Harvey, who made the move for P3 on Chris Baines, we shortly looked at that battle, or talked about it at least as it was going on just prior to the change for the race lead. Harvey now runs 1.9 seconds behind Jamie Walker in front. Baines starting to slip about half a second since then, running 2.5 seconds back and forth, and Silly behind right now, rounding out your top 5. And he's closing in to put up a fight, I think, with the 82 here. If not this time, the next time by. A good closing rate. He brought that gap in by 0.2 last lap.
Yeah, he definitely did. Maybe just getting, as these tires wear, everybody's going to change. Some guys will get faster. Other guys will get slower. It's just a product of, how hard in that first half of the run you drove the truck, and how much you saved the tires, how much you conserved them, and how much you didn't right now. And you can see that battle starting to really heat up here off of turn number 4 as Scott Simley's going to look to that inside now on that 82 of Chris Baines, and he'll put up a side-by-side battle for that position. It'll be short-lived now before they head to turn number 1. We'll give that spot back to Scott Simley now, move him up to 4th as 2 more guys starting to close in on him now. Aaron Bennett in the 33 and Tim Matthews running 6th and 7th respectively, and those 2 are starting to gain up for this battle for that 5th spot.
And that cost them some time. Well, they did battle, although it wasn't long-lived. A lot of the fights tonight have not lasted very long. They've really been go side by side and done. And it's been interesting the way it has gone nonetheless, but it's part of just the way you have to do business sometimes, especially now that this race starts to look like it's going to get a green flag mentality to it. We start to spread things out. That's not to say that spreading out reduces the possibility of a yellow that much. It means you're probably not going to hit somebody else. It doesn't mean you're not going to take yourself out. We've seen lots of guys down on the apron getting loose, lots of guys really struggling with getting these trucks to rotate off the corner and get it into the fence also, but you have to start, I think, thinking long-term now and start looking at some fuel numbers.
Yeah, it's definitely at that point. Once you get to the halfway point, like we are approaching rather quickly here, is that you got to see, exactly how many more times you got to stop. You actually start counting backwards. If you can make it 30 laps, you start counting back and try to see when you're in that fuel window, how many more stops you're going to have to make. Can you stretch it to make it one less than some other guys? But that's exactly what these guys on top of the box have to start doing now. It's at that point of the race, especially these long ones that you see at the 1.5 miles, because they typically can have that feel of a long green flag run, which then puts that strategy into play. And that's when you see a lot of guys start to maybe short pit. You'll see guys trying to make up some time with that as well. And you can see a few guys, though, really picking up the pace. We talked about Tim Matthews, Aaron Bennett closing the gap to get that 5th spot. And those 2 guys, we talked about the 54 having an extensively long pit stop that last time under caution. He had to start towards the back of the field, and he's already made it up to 7, so I definitely wouldn't count that 54 truck out yet.
And just 1.5 laps ago now, we did cross the halfway point, so let's take a look at our iRacing.com Midway Race Break, presented in part by BNC Lawn and Landscaping Service, LLC, based in Frankfort, Delaware. Check out BNC for all your landscaping needs, including turf care, mulching, snow removal, and more. Professional, licensed, and insured. Contact Aaron Bennett at 302-381-6073 for all inquiries. That is BNC Lawn and Landscaping, official partner of the United Sim Racing Truck Series. Your race leader, championship leader, Jamie Walker, step it up when the stage is the brightest. He wants to walk away with a brand new sim racing wig for next week's race in Saturday night. So you might get it locked up here. Brian Harvey running in P2, and Scott Silly behind in 3rd by 3 seconds. Aaron Bennett right now riding in 4th. 5th is Chris Baines. Tim Matthews in 6th. Steve Gottschalk 7th. Maul 8th. Her 9th. And Tom Dreiling in 10th as we begin to see guys trickle down for pit road.
Yeah, one of those guys coming down pit road was Cody Gibson. They're scoring him right now in that 11th spot. That'll change momentarily. Paul Fugit sits 12th. 13th is, now it's all changing on me here. Everything starts to get mixed up. Tyler Herr right now is in 11th. 12th is George Hendricks. Cody Gibson, or Paul Fugate scored in that 13th spot. 14th, Cody Gibson. Brian Cutts is 15th. 16th, and we'll go to Jeff Ryan. Christopher Herlow runs in 18th. 19th. Is Keith Butt, 2 laps down. 20th will be Mark Wilson, Paul Madison, Daniel Robertson, Ricky Hall Jr., and Todd Kirkwood round out the 24 truck field.
And most of those guys now 1 lap down because of the fact that the pit service is in full swing. So you'll see the positions begin to shuffle up, but that's a pretty accurate look at the order that we were running in before the green flag pit stops kicked off. This has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web, go to iRacing.com. Sign up today. #DirtConfirmed. Tom Dreiling goes to the top spot. The 06 machine will bring it down pit road, though, this time after he took over the race lead after race leader Jamie Walker entered pit road the last time by. The 17 will blend it back up to speed, and in fact I think he'll probably go back to the race lead here very shortly. Not a lot of people going on a long run. It seems like everybody's on the same strategy, and I think we knocked out almost all the stops at about 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Once everybody saw 7 of Cody Gibson come down pit road, everybody else was like, well, I can't be out here too much longer. He's going to gain too much time on us on the racetrack, and you can see right now he's actually going to come out. Even though he pitted a couple laps before Jamie Walker, Jamie Walker will still assume the race lead here. He's about 1.5 seconds now over that 7 truck as they work their way back into turn number 3. But Steve Herring right now continuing. He just came off of the pit road. He led a lap as well, so everything this time by should shake back up to that 17 of Jamie Walker leading this thing, as the 59 of James Thorndike led a lap, and he comes down pit road now.
And with that, Jamie Walker goes back to the point at lap number 90 of 167. Tonight we step away, we go LSRTV non-stop side by side, so you don't miss a moment of the action. But Jamie Walker likes the view up front right now, and he hopes to try to pull away with this, but it's a 1.4 second differential for P1 and P2. When we return, more action from the Texas Motor Speedway. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the 2016 USR Truck Series, presented by BNC Lawn and Landscaping and Simlutions. Plenty more still to come from the Wild Asphalt Circus right here on iRacing Live.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, changes in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by LSRTV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
We're back live at the Texas Motor Speedway for LSRTV's coverage of the United Sim Racing Truck Series for round number 6, the American Sniper 500, past the halfway point. You know, that means we stop counting up, we start counting down, and Jamie Walker counting down the minutes until he wants to walk away with a brand new Playseat Sim Racing rig, courtesy of Simlution Simulation Solutions, a great partner with us here at the USR Truck Series. That's just one of many prizes that's going to be tossed out over the course of the 2016 racing season, and he's working around some lap traffic right now, putting the 45 of Paul Fugate 1 lap down, Andy, leaving us with 14 other drivers still on the lead lap, 3 laps shy of lap number 100.
Yeah, really starting to tick away the laps, starting to tick away the drivers on the lead lap. There's going to be a couple more coming into the mix here. George Hendricks is also going to be, he's a few seconds from going a lap down as well, so that'll only leave us 13. It'll be a little while before he catches up to Steve Gottschalk or Tom Dreiling, but for that, just with these long green flag runs, it starts to take a toll on some of those guys that were mid-pack, and they end up start being a lap down. Plus those couple of cautions we had early in the race took a few guys out as well here. Todd Kirkwood and Ricky Howell Jr. Are also done for the night here, over 50 laps down. So it's definitely one of those things. Attrition is what happens when you get these longer races like this. It's just a matter of time with these long green flag runs. You start seeing them all start to drop off the lead lap.
And especially now when you start to get on the longer end of a green flag run. And I said we start counting down, but, you know, still over 68 laps to go in this race, so they don't really feel like they're quite yet at the in the home run part of this, or in the final home stretch, if you will. So this is the point where you might not notice it, but if you start to kind of nod off a little bit and you're not up on the wheel, if you're giving up a couple of hundredths per lap, just kind of falling into a trance and not staying really focused, it can bite you on the long end of things. So we'll see if that happens for anybody. A good battle right now back in P7. Aaron Bennett trying to hold on to that spot. He's got Chris Baines, he's got Greg Mall right on the back of him. That's a good fight going on. 6.2 behind Walker in front.
Yeah, and those guys are actually starting to close on the two guys right in front of them as well, Tyler Herr and Tim Matthews. So those guys being single file like they are and catching the draft, they're running a little bit faster than those two guys in front of them. We saw a pretty good battle while we were on the nonstop coverage there in the commercial with Tyler Herr and Tim Matthews battling with each other, but that's kind of separated each other just a bit right now, about a half a second in between those two trucks. So that kind of died down there, but these three right behind them we were talking about, they've been right here since these pit stops, and they've been close to each other and haven't really given up anything. If anything, they're making up some time.
Trying to pinch or inch away just slowly by surely to get up there. We got 3 drivers already right now off of the lead lap. I mentioned Paul Fugate, the BLIon.org Chevrolet right now would be in a lucky dog position. Thorndike and Ryan are the other 2 drivers, 1 lap down, 16th and 17th. Couple of guys 2 laps down. Steve Herring 18th, 19th. Paul Madison and Keith Butt in the 20th spot. 3 laps down is Robertson. 4 down is Mark Wilson. That's 21st, 22nd. And then Ricky Howell Jr. out of this race. race. And Todd Kirkwood, who had an accident on lap number 3, his screen went out, I think was what he told us over the radio. He ended up in the pit road wall. There was no caution flag for it, and it kind of went under the radar there because he pulled it right behind the garage. It was a rough night for him, and those are your 2 and only DNFs so far in this race. Walker's got plenty of lap traffic to deal with up in front of the field, though. The number 51 of Robertson will stay high. That'll be negative lap number 4. Keith Butt's going to go negative number 3 as he gets caught up to in turn 2. But it's not a huge field that we're seeing in tonight's competition, Andy. But now, we're so spread out that Walker's going to have a constant flow of cars that he's going to have to be getting around. He's got 4 with an half a turn of them at the moment that he's going to have to navigate through.
Yeah, and so far the lap down traffic's been very conscious of where the lead lap trucks have been, and definitely been getting out of the way for him. And you can see it right here, staying real high. Keith Butt now in that 3 truck, giving that bottom lane to Jamie Walker. He's not giving it up as long as the speed goes right now, and he's able to clear him right there on corner exit. But yeah, it's been pretty smooth sailing, I'd say, forward. Jamie Walker hasn't really had any close calls or anything like that with the lap down traffic, so it's been a pretty clean race as far as that goes. But anytime you get around a lap down truck, you're not sure why they're a lap down. Are they just that much slower? Are they have damage? So definitely as the leader, it definitely could make you a little nervous because you're not sure, if something could break right when you go around them, and then you end up getting caught up in a wreck. That's something we've seen enough times, I guess, over the years doing all these broadcasts to see stuff like that. It does happen, but for the race leader, when you got a comfortable lead like he does, 2 seconds over Cody Gibson, that's something you definitely don't want to see happen to the race leader.
Next driver in his sights going to be Paul Madison. You'll get to Jeff Ryan, and then he's got a little bit of a break. And the good news is the traffic not slowing him down at all. He actually picked up 0.4 of a second as he navigated some of that traffic through. Now 2.5 seconds in front of Cody Gibson. Gibson going to be caught very soon here by Brian Harvey. The 66 closing in. The 7 was actually making up time on your race leader when we came fresh out of the pit lane. But much like we saw to the longer end of the most recent green flag stint, that truck does not look that good on a longer green flags run, and it looks like Brian Harvey, he's going to be on him. 1 truck length the difference in turn 1.
Yeah, we talked about it. It was 0.8 seconds, just under a second. Cody Gibson was behind the race leader. Now it's 2.6. So definitely a long run is not what Cody Gibson needs. He needs those short runs as he almost gets in the wall. If he didn't, it was awfully close right there off turn 2. That'll give that 66 of Brian Harvey the opportunity to get that spot, and he will do that through 3 and 4. So move the 66 of Brian Harvey now up to that second spot. And a couple lap down trucks just behind him there with Paul Fugit and the 98 machine of Steve Herring, who is 2 laps down just behind those guys. So they continue to do battles all over the racetrack here. Tim Matthews, Aaron Bennett, Tyler Herr has dropped 2 spots now over the course of the last few laps. And now you can see Aaron Bennett starting to close the gap on Tim Matthews. That is the battle for the 5th spot, and they're in turn 3.
And on the outside, you'll see the lap cars go by. Cody Gibson down pit side at, I think, just about 58 laps to go here. I don't think that's enough to make it to the end, Andy. Do you think they can stretch it that far, or are we going to have to see him come down another time?
No, it's definitely, with the 60% fuel load, that's definitely another stop. He's planning on making one more stop here in this one. He was probably trying to figure out how to split it just right, and he'll probably do he'll come back out, do about another 25 to 27 laps. You'll see him down pit road for one more time, too, as well. So it's just a matter of time. We see Scott Simley peeling off the track. The 54's coming down. The rest of the leaders right here around the top 5 coming down.
Problems for the 68. There's a big group coming out of the pit lane, but Simley locked it up, but he pancaked the left side of that car into the inside fence. Looks like the damage is going to be concentrated more to the left rear. Got it slowed down in time, so I don't think he'll have a penalty. Certainly going to cost him some time on track. Plus, if he wants to sit down there and get it serviced, that's going to hurt him as well. We'll see. He's not going to take any services, so let's see how good that truck does out there with what is some fairly substantial left rear damage. The spoiler pretty bent up at the back end. The 54 actually going to beat him off at the pit lane.
Yeah, he made up a lot of ground with Scott Simley going to that inside wall on pit lane, so he will come back out on the racetrack. You see Cody Gibson flying by these guys up on the racetrack. So giving him that a little bit of an advantage coming down a lap before these guys. But Tim Matthews able to gain a spot there, and we'll see what he can do if he can move his way back up through the field as well here, as it looks like Jamie Walker now making his way down pit road. So only a couple laps he stayed out, and then he's going to now come down for his service.
The service in the books yet again, and again, now we look at a situation where this is still not the final trip down to the pit lane that these guys are getting out of the way right now. Jamie Walker in, right side's up, left side's going to go up as well. I don't think we've seen anybody sway from the four-tire strategy. Brian Harvey goes to the race lead. He'll come down pit road. Paul Fugate down to the pit lane as well with him, and many more. So once again, everybody on the same strategy. We're not seeing a lot of gambling on the field, because I think it's pretty clear-cut what you can and cannot do, and I'll attribute that right back to that 60% fuel cell. Doesn't really leave a lot of leeway as far as being able to run out on gas, but really the tires start to go away when you do fuel here, so it's not that big of a difference. So one more time, we have to go down to the pit lane, but that's the second consecutive cycle of pit stops happening under green flag conditions.
Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the race, that this track could lend that to us, lend some long green flag runs, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. And for Jamie Walker, it's exactly what he wants. He's going to hold just under a 2-second lead, it looks like, when everything cycles back around here over Cody Gibson. So we'll see. Cody Gibson obviously will probably chop into that race lead, because he's been very fast on the short runs. We've documented that a few times here after these pit stops, but we'll see what he can do if he can get somewhat back up close to that back bumper of Jamie Walker here. It looks like Steve Gottschalk, the last one to not come down pit road, and he will stay out another lap here as he comes by the start-finish line to complete lap 115. So the 91 maybe trying to stretch it a little bit here.
We will see Gottschalk out in front of the field right now, and last time by ran a 31.445. Jamie Walker with a 29.7. So, you're looking at about 2 seconds of fall off from the beginning of a run to an end of a run, which isn't on the shorter end of things, but isn't on the longer end of things either. It's right about in the sweet spot for what you expect to fall away off of these Goodyear Wranglers. But he continues to lead now through lap 116. Now to the works in turn one. We go for lap number 117. Walker 13.7 seconds behind, and he's making up a fair amount of time every single lap. It'll go from 13.7 down to 12.5, just a little bit more than a second faster that time for the driver that is now chasing, who's been in front of the field for the most of the time tonight. If he can stretch it, what he would have to do is hope that he stays in front of Jamie Walker by the time he has to make that final pit stop. It's quite a daring move. We haven't seen really anybody, Andy, try much tonight, because we haven't seen anybody come down and splash and go. We haven't seen two tires. We really haven't seen anybody straight from the norm. Gottschalk, first driver, to throw us a little bit of a curveball.
Yeah, he is the first one. Everyone else has been on sequence within a lap or two of everybody coming down pit road, and right now he's really just trying to push the issue. I'm not sure exactly what's on his mind or how far he can run here. He's still going to I'm guessing he's still going to have to either way make at least one more stop. But if he can stretch this long enough, he might be that one guy that tries to, force the issue and maybe take this thing only on this one more stop for him, and instead of two like the rest of the field.
And if he can, it really is going to be out of left field, because we were just talking about how, all right, one more pit stop to go. But strategy call for somebody running in 16th position. I don't think it's going to be enough. He'll come down to the pit side this time at lap number 119. He's got to go 48 laps if he wants to make it to the end. That still sounds like a pretty high number.
Yeah, it's still way too high. I think at most they can probably push it. Saving fuel is about 35 on a fuel tank. So we've been seeing these guys pretty much go about 30 laps, maybe some guys doing about 32 on a fuel run. So either way, it doesn't look like that will be the race-winning strategy for that 91, but he got some laps led, so that'll be good for the point standings.
13 drivers remain on the lead lap now. That Jamie Walker took over the top spot, and that move will drop your at-time race leader. And now running somewhere much deeper in the pack, going to kick yourself back a little bit because it takes about a lap for you to get onto the pit lane, get back off of the pit lane. It costs you about a lap of time. So Steve Gottschalk right now, he'll blend back up with traffic. You see the 17 go by. He'll lose a lap. I think he'll be able to get that lap back because he'll have the tire advantage now. But you're going to find yourself now, 24 seconds or so behind once it kind of balances back out. Somebody that I think needs a caution to get back into this race. And really anybody needs a caution to get back in because Walker continues to stretch a little bit more and a little bit more. He hasn't been blowing the doors off of these guys, but he is just so consistent that it's frustrating for everybody else. He went from about 0.7 of a second or so to like 1.6 after we saw that first cycle of green flag pit stops, and he's since gone from that to 2.3. So he's not faster by a lot, but at this racetrack, you give him a couple hundredths or a tenth every single time, it'll slowly start to add up. And that 2.3 seconds, well, it doesn't sound like a lot for Cody Gibson. It's pretty daunting if he expects to do that without the help of a yellow, which is 45 laps left.
Yeah, and you really just got to look at the lap times and how consistent Jamie Walker can run these lap times. I mean, it's to me. I mean, they're going to fall off. The lap times are going to fall off, but they're just so consistent. And you look at five laps after he made that pit stop, they were all 30.1s, 5 in a row. So I mean, it's the consistency that gets it done for that 17, and it's hard to match because I mean, you're talking about every single time into the corner. It's kind of like a rhythm thing we talk about. Every time you go into the corner, you got to let off at the same point. You got to get back on the gas at the same point. Your line's got to be so consistent. You got to just be consistent on the wheel. You can't be jerking the wheel all over the place. That'll lose you time. It's a real tough thing to master, but when you get somebody like Jamie Walker that masters it, like you said, it makes it frustrating for these other guys because I'll tell you right now, Tim Matthews, Cody Gibson, Aaron Bennett's 2 wins on the season. These guys, they're no slouches at all when it comes to getting the job done. But when you get onto these mile-and-a-half tracks with a guy like Jamie Walker who can get into that zone and be that consistent, it makes it real tough to chase them down.
And now Gottschalk with the 1 lap down. We fall to just 19 drivers on the lead lap. It tells you the pace that Walker's been running. 3 seconds is Cody Gibson. 3.4 is Tim Matthews. It's a 0.4 of a second gap between them. Not really close enough to put up a fight for that position yet. Nice and tight, Brian Harvey, Tyler Herr. They might have something to ruin here in a couple of laps. Just 0.3 of a second of each other between P5 and P6. Harvey, Herr, respectively, deep in the pack. But things are very calm now. And, if you started to kind of fade away there before that most recent pit stop, the drivers know what's going on now. Because now you're looking at one final pit stop. You've got a lap number in mind, and you're counting down your laps to that point. You get that stop done, then you're counting down laps through to the checkered flag. So you're not going to catch a mistake, I don't think, at a Jamie Walker at this point because he's just been so good at finishing out these races, and he's adding to that laps led total. Aaron Bennett, second most laps led out of anybody in the series into tonight in 2016 with 108. Jamie Walker trying to almost have triple that number by the end of the evening if he can.
Yeah, he's got a great opportunity to do that. I mean, you know what? It goes back to your starting position. And when you got a guy like Jamie Walker that has an average starting position of coming into the night, I think it was a 1.8, I believe. And then, once he's on the pole and he's out front like that, he's able to lead laps like he does. I mean, that's the ultimate, is scoring the maximum points, getting all those bonus points that you possibly can. And he definitely, like I said, the first 3 races, it really wasn't his thing. He might have gotten a lap or 2 led. He led a few at Daytona. I remember that in the season opener. But for the most part, he wasn't the dominating truck that we've seen in the past. But since then, since the last 3 races, starting with his win at Phoenix, he has been one of those drivers. Just get him up front, you get him in that clean air, he's going to lead a lot of laps. And he's doing that again here tonight.
And we look in, how much further is he going to go before he makes the final pit stop? Going to be 38 laps to go that time by for Jamie Walker. So not all that far out. In fact, he's almost in that window to be able to make the stop whatever he would like. You saw Gottschalk get back around. That's the difference in tire speed. Back on the lead lap, sure, but you're still 29 seconds behind. This race could easily end with 8 drivers, 9 drivers maybe left on the lead lap. I'm impressed with everybody inside of the top 9 and top 8. You got Greg Mull 10th, who is 24 seconds back. Actually, he'll drop to 11th now. Tom Dreiling takes that spot away from him. They're both 24 seconds back, Andy, or about 6 seconds ahead of Jamie Walker. He might be able to catch him by the end. But for this long of a green flag stretch, to have everybody from the front to 8th position, Tim Matthews 2nd, Cody Gibson, Brian Harvey, Aaron Bennett through 5th, Tyler Hurst, Scott Simley, and Chris Baines all within 9 seconds of the race leader. That's a pretty fast pace for everybody inside the top 10.
Yeah, and that goes to show what I was saying. I mean, none of these guys in this are any slouches by any means. It's one of those things when you get a guy like Jamie Walker that's so consistent and can do it at a track like this with the tire wear, have those consistent lap times every single lap for one of these field runs. It makes it tough because one little slip up, you lose a 10th, you lose 2 tenths, and then you're working your butt off trying to get that 10th back, and you may get it or you may not, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of all these guys here. Tim Matthews, though, up to that 2nd spot, finally got around Cody Gibson, but I see that 7 struggling here on the long run again as Brian Harvey starts to close the gap, and so does the 33 of Aaron Bennett.
Just about at that point, we go on board with Cody Gibson and Urod right in the middle of where all the action is right now. He's got a car in front he's chasing down. He's got a truck behind that's chasing him down. And if they start to battle, it's only going to hurt them a little bit more in the overall picture. But it looks like that move by Tim Matthews in the number 54 Chevrolet is going to allow him to try to pull away. He got the pass done about 3 laps ago now, I think. And he's going to try to run away with it. And I think he's a little bit quicker than Gibson because, again, we talked about all night. We've said it a few times, Andy. The 7, fast on the short run, but it really doesn't look like that. That USR Toyota is really set up for the long run. And he was good early. He made up a couple of spots. Again, he started on the outside of the front row. It was the top 5 truck in practice, but he's really been struggling since we went green. Now almost over 80 laps ago at this point. And I say struggling while he runs P3. It'll be P4 in a second because to the inside goes Brian Harvey. So hard to say you're struggling when you're running top 5, but he's no longer constantly a P2 truck where he was earlier in the evening for sure.
Yeah, it's easily to note somebody struggling at this point because you can tell just by distances now that they've all spread out, how quickly that 54 was able to close the gap as this run went on. And then once he gets by, then you see the 66 come into the picture. Now, it's this. Now Cody Gibson's got to worry about the 33 of Aaron Bennett also getting into this mix as well. So, for all these guys, it's you can kind of document, I guess, if they're struggling or if they're gaining as these long runs go on, just because of the separation these guys have. If we have a restart and a guy starts 2nd, he drops back to 5th, well, you know what? Listen, there's a whole big pack of cars, so I wouldn't necessarily say that guy's struggling, but you really get to see it when these lap times start to go. As Cody Gibson going to head down pit road as the battle for 2nd heats up.
The Cody Gibson, he's on pit road, so is the number 12. So pit stops in action, and I would expect it to be done at about 5 because, again, they've been doing them in much unison tonight. But Matthews and Harvey get a battle off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Good run for the 66. Doesn't quite have the spot. He'll challenge to the inside anyhow. The 54, he'll leave the door wide open for him and let him go up the bottom of the racetrack. Move Brian Harvey into 2nd. And Matthews, he'll just come right down pit side. The 54 jumps in from 3rd. Walker continues to stay out on the racetrack, though. The 17 still out in front, not yet coming in at 29 to go.
Yeah, and he's working his way down the backstretch now. We'll see if he comes down this time. It'll be 2 laps that he stayed out longer than that 7 of Cody Gibson, and it looks like right now, at least for the time being, that 17, he wants to stretch it out a little bit longer, at least on the fuel run here, maybe a couple more laps for him here before we get to the closing laps. But somebody had to come down early. Cody Gibson decided to do that. He'll gain a bunch of time here as he stays out, so I wouldn't suggest that Walker stays out much too longer, but at the same time, he will have the fresher tires when he comes back out. So if he ends up being behind Cody Gibson by, a second or two, he probably will make that up rather quickly.
Walker still staying out there. He's got a number. He really doesn't want to stray from it, but you have to wonder how much time could he possibly be losing here by staying out. We talked about the difference between the short pit, fresh tires. Those guys already back up the speed on the racetrack, 1 lap down, or if you're looking at it like a Steve Gottschalk, 28 seconds back, making up time on you now. Bennett looks like he's trying to get to the race leader. The number 33 can't quite catch Jamie Walker, though, 6.4 seconds off, and he'll come in this time by from P2. Jamie Walker looks like he's slowing. He will also come down. So final trip down to the pit lane, and he takes it nice and easy to the commitment cone. Doesn't want an unforced error.
Nope, that's what cost him last week, and it's something very uncommon with the 17 to make a mistake like he did last week, getting on the pit road with that speeding penalty. So definitely take it easy. He had the commanding lead, so take it easy. Make sure you come down. You hit your marks just right. Gets into his pit box nicely, and Aaron Bennett as well will follow him down pit road this time. So these guys obviously working lap 40, and they're looking for about a 27-lap sprint to the finish.
Walker's out. Let's see if he's able to hang on to the race lead or if he loses it at all after he stayed out for much
Gibson
longer.
just went
The
around.
number 7, Cody Gibson, goodbye. And I think to the race lead goes the number 7. And with that being said, I don't think he'll be able to run it out and win the race because Bennett's going to be much faster now, or rather behind Jamie Walker is going to be much faster now. Aaron Bennett as well coming off. He's trying to sneak his way back inside of the top 5 after again falling back early. He was using some of the early cautions to his advantage since he's gone green all the way, made it a little bit more difficult for him to pick up those spots in bulk. But the gap is 2.3 seconds. I don't think that's far enough ahead for Cody Gibson to get away, but there's lots of traffic down the backstretch.
Yeah, there's lots of traffic that Cody Gibson has to get around as well as Jamie Walker. It looks like so far so good for that 7 machine as he works his way off of turn number 4. He's got Greg Mall, who was racing up front in the top 3 for most of the first half of the race, and that little damage that he's had on that truck has definitely slowed him down quite a bit here, as you can see him struggling here the second half of the race right now, and he's about to get himself put one more lap, or at least put him one lap down now here in the late stages.
The difference that time between your leader and the chaser, Jamie Walker, was 0.4 of a second, or side by side in front of him. He'll go to the outside to make the move on that bright orange number 34 of George Hendricks. Hendricks right now running 2 laps down. Next car he's going to have to get up to, going to be the Donnie with a Gottschalk, Dryling, Mall, and then Cody Gibson. That's 4 pieces of lap traffic between him and the 7. He still picked up, though, almost an entire second that last lap. But Gibson might be liking the view out the back window. If they can hold that 17 up just a little bit, it might play into the favor of the 7, but they would really need that Mountain Dew Chevrolet to have some problems getting through these guys. He takes another 0.3 away that time. He'll drop to the inside on the 91, 1 down, 3 to go.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of them things. Do these guys give him room, or are they going to race Jamie Walker hard? And, being a lap down, it's not the ethical thing to do, but you see Tom Dryling go to the high side there, give that bottom lane to Jamie Walker, and they'll close the gap even more right there off of turn number 4. So he's coming quick, and I really think, honestly, what Cody Gibson needs at some point here in the next 10 laps or so is a caution. Which would allow everybody to come down pit road and be on the same strategy and the same tires, and that might be his only opportunity, is to have a short run to the end, because we know how fast that 7 can be on the short run.
0.5 of a second. Here they come at a turn number 4. Going to line up with just 21 laps to go at the Texas Motor Speedway. Cody Gibson started P2. Not going to be fast enough to hang on, though. Your pole sitter, Jamie Walker. He'll apply the pressure down in turns 1 and 2. They both ride the white line. Now down the back straightaway. He's got the run, a bubble by the 7. Close call. The 17 will swing way down to the inside of the racetrack. That could have ended badly for both of your leaders, but Jamie Walker going to come out of it and take your USR 20 to go in front and back on top of the pile, putting Cody Gibson now back into second. 1-2 just as they started, now 148 laps ago.
Yeah, that's very. That's why I say it's never over till it's over, and anything can happen at any point on the racetrack. But right now, for Jamie Walker, he was able to squeak by that there, not have any problems, and he'll be able to have a pretty clean racetrack in front of him right now. And for Cody Gibson now, it's pretty much going to be, can he hang on to that second spot? And is Tim Matthews about a second and a half behind him? Does he have enough time to close that gap. I think he does. Obviously, coming down a little bit later, he's got the fresher tires, but he's got to navigate around that same lap traffic that Cody Gibson and Jamie Walker did. So we can see now the 7 really starting to struggle here is now the lap down machine of Tom Dryerly now making his way to the inside, trying to get back around him, and Jamie Walker is just setting sail now off turn 4.
He says adios. He's out of here, and it's going to be a battle now to see, does Gibson slide back to Tim Matthews? Can Matthews stay in front of Tyler Herb, Brian Harvey? A couple of good fights inside of the top 5. We'll step away, one final and very quick time. Go LSRTV nonstop. Jamie Walker inside of the final 20 laps at the Texas Motor Speedway, trying to walk out of here with win number 2 in 2016. Was going to...
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
I didn't either.
We're back live at the Texas Motor Speedway, and you all know the saying that the plot thickens. This changes everything, whatever you want to call it. It's a brand new ball game here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Contact in turn 4. Tyler Herb putting the 12 truck into the fence. 12 comes down. Brian Cutts goes for a spin. And we're going to have a late race restart inside of 15 laps to go. Jamie Walker going to come down pit road. And I'm expecting everybody to be on 4 fresh tires, those that are coming in for service. We're going to see Walker going to lead him down, and he's got quite the gap, Mandy, that he did again right here. What we've seen a couple of times tonight is drive it in hard to the line. Let's see if that advantage allows him to take the 4 tires that he wants.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if somebody's going to try too, this is the time to do it. The problem is they're going to get eaten up alive out on the racetrack. So do you try taking 2 and taking a gamble on it and then getting, possibly instead of a top 5, you get a top 10 out of it? Or do you, but it looks like everybody taking 4 tires in this one. Jamie Walker leading the way off pit road once again, like he's done all night long.
The 7 was slow. P4. I'll tell you what, Brian Harvey looked in front of him. The 7 pulled in front coming off. They're just going to drive side by side all the way down on the apron. But it does look like they will give the spot to Brian Harvey. That means Cody Gibson loses 3 positions on the pit lane, and he'll fall to at least P5 or somewhere in that range. That is not what you want to happen after you just busted your ass for 80 laps to run P2. It wasn't even a big mistake, but he was slow out of the box. And I think with that being said, Andy, it looked like he might have been still in a high gear because the truck just did not get going out of the box. It's going to cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, it's going to cost him a lot of time. The only benefit for Cody Gibson is that he's got a pretty fast race truck on a short run. That's exactly what we're going to have here at the end. We're going to have, it looks like, probably just under 10 laps, maybe 9 to go when we get the green flag back. This is a good opportunity for Tim Matthews. Look at Tyler Herr now up to the 3rd spot here off of pit road. So he gained a couple spots. So it's a good opportunity for one of these guys to possibly steal the win away from Jamie Walker.
The race lead is the number 17, Walker in front, Matthews, Herr, Harvey, Gibson, Bennett, P6, Baines, Herlo, Simley, Dryerling inside of the top 10. Mal Fugate, Gottschalk looking for some wave bys to make it 13 total trucks left on the lead lap, and now we sit and wait, looking like it might be an 11 lap to go restart when the lights on the pace car go out this time by. We'll have to see. And if it is, that leaves a window wide open for another yellow and an opportunity at a restart if we see the cautions breed cautions, which, in all honesty, tends to happen more than less late in some of these races at these intermediate racetracks. The lights do go out this time by at lap 156. It'll be 11 laps to go the next time around. Caution flying inside of the final 5 would end this race with no NASCAR overtime on the iRacing service. You liking Jamie Walker still, Andy? He's been good on the restarts. He hasn't had to deal with it in quite some time, though.
No, he hasn't, but you know what? He's got control, so he can go whenever he wants when the pace car leaves. So I still give him the advantage. The thing is, though, with the such a short run to the end, these guys don't have to worry about saving tires. It's going to make it pretty interesting to see how hard these guys want to drive it down into the corners and see what they're going to do. But I got to like that 19's in a pretty good spot right behind Walker. If he can time the restart just right, it's going to make it tough for Tim Matthews.
We doubled them up, and it could be, for the final time, the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car get a slot down to the safety of pit road and buckle up at least one more time. Jamie Walker in search of win number 2 and in search of the big prize as week 6 comes to a close, because he wants the place seat sim rig. Pace car gone, green flag flies, he's back out and away. 11 laps to go at the Great American Speedway. Matthews slots in from the outside to get to P2, and it's Herr riding in 3rd.
Yeah, top 3 were able to get single file pretty quickly. Cody Gibson able to clear the 66 machine of Brian Harvey, so that'll make the top 5 guys now single file, and they'll make a top 10 actually single file. Look at the 82 making a move. Chris Baines was looking to the inside of Cody Gibson there into turn number 3. The door was shut rather quickly right there. So top 3 still nose to tail, and everybody else first side-by-side battle. That's Aaron Bennett now next to Brian Harvey, and that is the battle for the 6th spot.
Taking a look to the inside, deeper in the pack, we go side by side. The 87 of Herlo slides up. He almost tags the 66 of Brian Harvey. There is no contact, and we stay now single file for a brief moment. All the way from P1 through to P10. It's not going to be long-lived, though, because they're all over each other. To the inside, side by side, Aaron Bennett's 33. He goes to the bottom of the 82 of Chris Baines. It's a battle for P5 in turn 1.
Teammate Snow Mower, they're going to race each other hard for the end of this one here as you can move that 33 truck now up to the 5th spot. He's still got a mirror full, though, of teammate Chris Baines. He's trying to block him right now as they head back into turn number 3. Top 4, though, they're separated by a car length between each of them now, and up turn 4, looks like closing the gap just a bit. Might be that 54, Tim Matthews. He's looking for the win. The problem is that 1 point's not going to do any difference for that place. He's 7 back coming into this race.
Yeah, the 17, you can do all you want, but if he finishes in front of you, it's all futile. Tim Matthews having a good run, though, to maintain P2 with the championship. He wants the win, though, even if he can't make up the 7 points. Passing Walker would only relegate that Mountain Dew Chevy to P2, and that enough, I think, is going to be a challenge for him at 7 laps to go this time through. But a win would be big for him, second in the championship. Yet, with the trip to victory lane, both drivers on par to pick up their 6th top 10 in 6 starts, and both would get their 4th top 5 in 6 starts as well as they ride 1-2 right now. Battle for 3rd, Tyler Herr overdrove it again. Turn 2 bites number 19 for another time tonight. No contact between him and the 7. He got too tight off the corner, Andy. Not the first time we've seen it tonight, and such a bad time for it to happen. He'll lose that spot, but now he lost the momentum, and he's got Bennett, the 82, and company right up the back deck lid.
Yeah, he does. He's got to get it in gear here before this thing gets over, before he loses any more spots. It looks like he's up to speed again. Now you got to watch out for these top two as they battle nose to tail here into turn number 3. The 7 of Cody Gibson, fast on the short run. He's got a little bit of gap to make up, but I don't think he's got enough time to do it.
Caution flag will wave at lap 163. And that may just be all she wrote here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Yellow flag will wave yet again. We take a look to see what brings out this caution, and it might have been 1 lap too late if you were hoping to get a 1 lap to go or a 2 lap to go restart. Is that still a possibility? Sure, we won't know until we find out if the lights go off at a pace car or not. The wreck comes from the 66 of Brian Harvey, though. He got dumped by the 87 of Ashita Hurlo. They were side by side. He pinched him. We'll try to get a second look in a moment. The incident is down the back straightaway at lap number 162. Harvey looking like he's going to the inside on the 62. Hurlo drives it up the bottom, gives him a shot to the left rear, and Harvey ends up in the fence, and Hurlo gets the spot.
That's a tough break for Brian Harvey, and it looks like he's going to pull it behind the wall as well. So a driver who had been very fast, showed a lot of speed, had a top 5 truck here definitely, and struggled on that restart. It looked like a little bit, and then ends up getting finished off right there by the 87. So it's going to be close, Evan. They were able to, the caution came out right before they came across the line, and they got the pace car. So they're doing the wave around now, and it'll be very close. We might get 1 lap shootout to the end.
And that's if everybody else is lucky. Jamie Walker says just stop. He's been good on the restarts all night. I don't see anybody being able to catch him on a 1 lap run to the checkered flag if they weren't able to get to him in 4 laps, because he's had the explosive speed tonight, combined though with the best long run consistency. But I think either way, the 17 is going to be the one walking out of here with the checkered flag. We'll see, though. There may be time to go back read. We'll have to monitor the driver radio chat. That'll give us a little bit of a better idea. If the lights go out at lap 165, it would give us a 2 lap to go restart. If they go out at 166, it would give us 1 to go. And right now, Jamie Walker across the start-finish line, working lap number 164, taking 165 this time. They might just get that 1.5 mile shootout.
Yeah, and if they do, then it's going to be all about the restart. It's going to be all about if Tim Matthews can time it just right, or even Cody Gibson. Because if Jamie Walker snookers them even just a little bit, it'll take them at least 1 lap to get wound up, really. So by the time they do get a run, like maybe into turn number 3, it might be all over anyway. So it's going to be, if we do get that 1 lap shootout, it is definitely going to be up to the restart for guys like Tim Matthews or Cody Gibson to even have an opportunity to get around them.
So we will await the verdict this time by. It is the latest opportunity at the 2 to go mark for the lights to go out. And at that point, we will find out if we will go back green flag racing for just 1 extra lap. And at that point, doesn't matter if we get to the white flag that is on the restart. Not that it promises that much. It doesn't matter how many people wreck. It's the next person to take home the checkered flag to get across the start-finish line that would walk away with a win in the USR American Sniper 500 at the Texas Motor Speedway. Moment of truth into turn number 3. Jamie Walker in front of Tim Matthews, who started 5th. Cody Gibson, who started P2, is now 3rd. Tyler Herr's gone from P8 to P4. Aaron Bennett, P4, back to P5. Those are your top 5 on the racetrack right now. 2 laps to go at the start-finish line. We look topside at the flag stand. What's the verdict? Pace car coming through. The lights on top will go out. It will be a 1.5 mile shootout in the Lone Star State, fittingly enough, I think.
I'll tell you right now, it's Jamie Walker. He's got to be in that truck going, why? When you dominate like you did, and then it all comes down to the restart. If the 17 misses a shift or spins his tires or doesn't get the jump he needs. I mean, a lot goes into a restart. It's not just hit the gas and go. So we'll have to see. Obviously, any mistakes happen by any of these front runners, and maybe it gives another guy an opportunity as well. So it all comes down to the restart and how well they can get on the gas pedal, and for the 54, that's about the only shot he's got.
So we're going to see how this one shakes out, and if you're just tuning in or if you've been tuning in all night long, you're here at the right time. Jamie Walker looking to walk away with a win, maintain the points lead, get a place seat, race seat rig. There's a lot on the line despite it being just round number 6 in 2016. We're going to see Ken the 17 get the job done. The pace car ducks down for the final time to the American Ethanol Go Zone. Green flag flies 3 wide, back in the back already. 1.5 miles left to go, and a huge head of speed on the outside for the 82.
I think he jumped the start right there, but you're going to put him in a side-by-side battle for that second spot for the final time. Off of turn number 2, Jamie Walker, a 1 truck length lead. They're side-by-side behind him for the final time.
The 82's got the momentum, but he's got nowhere to go, and they're going to be full throttle in 3 and 4, and they don't get another shot at him. Jamie Walker, he was tested not once but twice late in this race. Checkered flag number 2 and winner at Texas.
Man, a great restart right there. I really think that 82 jumped the start there, went to the outside, so there's no official penalty through the sim for doing that, but we'll have to see if race control does anything, but he definitely jumped the start there on that outside. Chris Baines trying to do everything he possibly could. Right now shown on the board in that 3rd finishing position, so if it works out for him, it's a podium for Chris Baines, but Jamie Walker just too tough for everybody here tonight and comes home with his 2nd win of the season and ultimately a placey.
And he came over the radio and said, well, you guys had to test me, didn't you? And he'll burn it down, and he deserves it. 2nd trip to victory lane in 2016. He remains perfect with 6 top 5s and 6 starts. It'll help his average finish to 4.6 into tonight. He started off the evening with his 3rd pole and 6 starts. That's going to help out his average start of a 1.8. He's good. And Jamie Walker is getting the job done here in 2016. So we'll step away, come back to the Lone Star State in a moment, and we'll hand out a nice prize to your championship leader and winner tonight for the Texas Motor Speedway, Jamie Walker. You're watching the 2016 USR Truck Series presented by B&C Lawn and Landscaping Services and Simlutions right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We're back live at the Great American Speedway post-race from Texas. The USR American Sniper 500 come and gone. Jamie Walker taking home his second checkered flag on the season. He awaits us in Gatorade Victory Lane. First, let's take a look at your Simvolutions full field results for 2016 round number 6. Tim Matthews coming home P2 tonight. P2 with the points into tonight, so a solid finish for him. Not enough to snag away the place seat, but it'll keep him up front going forward into round number 7 next week. And then Chris Baines will round out your top 3 at the start finish line. However, he's not going to be given that number 3 position. Andy just got finished speaking with race control. That spot actually going to be going to Cody Gibson.
Yeah, Cody Gibson will end up finishing in that 3rd spot, and I'm not sure exactly where Chris Baines will end up, if they're going to just put him back a couple spots where they think he would finish, or if they're going to put him at the tail end of the lead lap. But either way, good recovery for Chris Baines. Cody Gibson will get that 3rd spot. Tyler Herb will call it 5th for now. Aaron Bennett finishes in that 6th spot. Christopher Herlow comes home 7th. 8th goes to Scott Simley. Tom Dreierling will finish 9th, and Paul Fugit will round out the top 10.
And then P11 and 12 to round out your lead lap finishers. Steve Gottschalk and Greg Mall. 13th, James Thorndike. 14th is Steve Herring, with 15th rounded out for Paul Madison. 2 laps down to Keith Butt, Jeff Ron, George Hendricks, Brian Harvey, and Brian Cutts through P20.
21st on the night behind the wall. That'll be the 30 of Mark Wilson, Daniel Robertson, 22nd. 23rd to Ricky Howell Jr. and Todd Kirkwood, involved in a very early accident 3 laps into it. He will finish 24th on the night, but it's that time. We got a winner, 2nd time on the season, Jamie Walker, and a pretty cool prize to go along with that, and Evans caught up with him in victory lane.
The big topic of conversation through the first couple of weeks is we're seeing a lot of different winners. Well, last week, Aaron Bennett picked up number 2. This week, J.B. Walker picks up checkered flag number 2 in 2016. Winner of tonight's USR American Sniper 500. Jamie, congratulations to you. You had these guys bested by far and large on the long green flag stretch. We saw that, and it looked like that was going to carry us through the checkered flag, but you came over the radio and said, you guys couldn't let me just get away with it. You had to test me. They gave you 2 final restarts there, including a 1-lap dash to the checkered flag. It still wasn't enough to slow you down there. You pick up the W, most importantly. You're going to be leading the points at around number 6. That means you get quite the nice little place seat prize, courtesy of Simvolutions.
Oh, let the partying begin. Oh, yeah. Now, on this long run, though, this truck was just hooked up awesome. I couldn't believe how much better it was compared to everybody else. And I got a little scared there on that last couple of restarts, but I was able to get the jump and at least hold on for a couple of laps.
It was an exciting race early, saw a lot of contact. It was a very fast-paced race as well. 167 laps, no walk in the park here either. Cody Gibson, who is coming home in P3 tonight. We think that officially Chris Baines going to be penalized after that final restart there. It looked like he had your number right out of the pits, right on fresh tires, but you were able to keep that truck faster on the long run. But also, nobody passed you under green flag conditions tonight with the exception of one, and it was on a green flag stretch. You didn't get passed on the restart, so you were able to find the balance of the long run speed and the short run speed out of the gate as well. I think that's what you gave you the best advantage out of everybody else. Would you attribute that to just some of the experience that you have, or was the truck just that good tonight?
Yeah, the truck was just awesome. I mean, like I said, I can't believe how good it was. But yeah, when Cody got around me, I went and I let him go, and I just stayed in his tire tracks, pushed him a little bit harder than he wanted to go, and I noticed he got into the wall getting off of 2, and I pretty much checked out after that.
So it is still young in the championship. We're 6 races down. The chase is still far for now, but you're doing exactly what you need to do. 4th top 5 of the year as well. Your 6th top 10 in 6 starts. You also picked up your 3rd pole on the year. So you guys are doing exactly what you need to do. But the championship is far away. Tonight was kind of an exciting race because we were counting down to this date for quite some time. You get the very cool prize of that place seat sim racing ring. What does that mean for you to be able to have these results early and get something out of it?
I'm looking forward to it, man. Just like I said, just the camaraderie of my guys and the team over there at Young Guns. They're helping me throughout the week, and we all help each other. And I don't know, we bond so well together and figure out what we're doing together and our mistakes, and we learn from each other.
A solid night nonetheless. Bristol going to be in 1 week's time, so we wish you the best of luck going to that one, Jamie. Before we let you go, as always, the sponsors, the shout-outs you want to give a call to down here for the second time in Gatorade Victory Lane.
I'd like to shout out to you guys. You guys do an awesome job up there in the booth. All the guys over at Young Gun Motorsports, Cody Gibson for putting on this United Sim Racing League, and then the Simlutions for doing what they do for us. I can't thank them enough. And yeah, other than that, I'm just ecstatic. Don't know where to go from here.
Well, I hope you enjoy your new goodies, sir. Congratulations. Thanks for sticking around and chat with us. We'll see you next Saturday, and if things continue to go as they have been for the last couple of weeks, we'll probably talk to you then as well.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you next week.
It is championship leader Jamie Walker, winner tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway. Behind Tim P2, a good fight. Not enough, though. Tim Matthews coming home in the number 2 position. Entered tonight second in the points. Andy put up a good fight. Just wasn't quite enough to get up there. He'll still walk out of here with a solid amount of points and still be right up there in the championship picture through 6 races.
Yeah, definitely. We're talking about the driver of the 54, Tim Matthews, and for the second consecutive week, he comes home as the bridesmaid, second place finish, second in the standings right now, just short of a win, just short of a place seat. You're there. You're battling for these positions, Tim. It's just a matter of time before you can break through and get your first win of the season.
Well, that's what I keep telling myself. So, we'll keep trying and going for it. But, I was just talking to Cody there. It's going to take a guy like Jamie to make a mistake. Last week, Aaron, he was so dominant. It's going to take somebody to make a mistake. I can't keep coming in there and, just trying to run a clean race without somebody else screwing up for me to win, So I'm going to have to either qualify up front and lead the race, or I'm going to have some luck.
Well, you've had definitely a pretty good start to the season. You match Jamie Walker, who leads the point standings. You match him with top 5s and top 10s. He's just got the 2 wins to your none, and that's what's setting you back right now. You're still in that battle for the championship lead. You got to be pretty excited at least how the first 6 races are going. Even though you haven't gotten a win out of it, you still got 6 top 10s, and you've been having a pretty good season to start. Obviously, a very long season that Chase will come into play. How important is it to get this momentum early and keep it going throughout the whole season?
Well, it's really important for confidence. Even on the official stuff, I've always been a top 5 guy. That's always been my goal. Try to race clean. I pride myself in racing clean. So that's the main thing. If I race clean and finish all the laps, more often than not, I'm going to have at least the top 5. So that's kind of what I go into every race. Hopefully, I obviously like to win, but, I do the best I can by racing clean. And, we'll keep trying every week.
Well, that you will. You might put a little bit of separation between the guys behind you and gain a little bit on them as far as points. With a couple of those guys having some issues late in the race, Greg Mull and Chris Hurlow. So you're comfortably, I would say, at least for the time being, in that second spot. And we look forward, obviously, to the battles in weeks to come. We got Bristol next week, though. We talk about a 2-mile track, a 1.5 mile this week, and then we're going to go to a pretty fast, high-banked short track. Size up that place for yourself.
Well, I'll be the first to admit short tracks is definitely my weakness. I'll be lucky to finish top 10 at any short track we go to. That's just not my thing. I've tried, and I just can't figure them out. So places like Bristol, Martinsville, even Dover, I struggle at. So, luckily there's a lot of 1.5 mile tracks and above, on the schedule. So, hopefully I can make up for all the short tracks, in those races.
Well, there you have it. We wish you the best of luck next Saturday night, but congratulations again on this back-to-back second-place finishes for you, and we'll definitely see you next weekend.
10-4, appreciate it.
There you have it, second-place finisher on the night here, and second place in the point standings as well. That was Tim Matthews, and I'm going to throw it down back to Evan, and he's caught up with our third-place finisher, Cody Gibson.
And I'm always a fan of numbers. 3rd top 5 on the season for Cody Gibson. Entered tonight 8th in the championship standings, and going to help that to count out here tonight with another solid result. Cross the line P4, scoring going to relegate him to 3rd after Chris Bain's going to be given a penalty for jumping that final restart. So Cody, congratulations on the podium tonight at Texas, man. We basically had this thing wrapped up. Coming to 20 to go. Okay, we're green. We've been green for 85, 90 laps. Caution flag flies once. Twice, we get a 1-lap shootout. What was going through your mind through all of that?
Well, there before the caution came out, them last two stops I took two tires and it started falling off, getting real loose, and I was kind of glad to see that second to the last caution come out because I was falling off dramatically. So, I mean, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably be out of the top 10 because I was way off the pace. But other than that, I was glad to see it.
It works out for you guys, and even an impressive night as well. Started up front, and you mentioned had some struggles through the longer runs as well. Coming up with the P3 here tonight, chipping away at the championship lead. Now 6 races into 2016. Still plenty of time, but starting to close in where we have to start looking at championship, and you're getting yourself further and further away from P12 where the cut line is. That's obviously good news.
Oh, yeah. Last couple weeks, I've been... I don't know, I can say getting better or getting better the feel of the new build, but I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still in the learning process, but it feels good.
A good result for you guys. Going to be a completely different test next Saturday night right here on LSRTV for the USR Food City 200 at the Bristol Motor Speedway. You're going to have to get a lot more physical, I would imagine. We saw a lot of guys beating and banging tonight. I'll be fair about that, but I think Bristol's going to be a rough and tough from race. So what are you guys expecting out of round number 7?
Man, I'm just going to try to qualify well. Try to stay up front. If I ain't the leader, I'm going to try to do what the leaders do, just so I ain't in mid-pack, so I ain't the one bumping people and I ain't getting bumped.
If you can get out of Bristol with a clean truck, I'd call that a successful night as well, Cody. Hey, congratulations, sir. Top 3 finish tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout-out to everybody that supports USR. I mean, this thing wouldn't be here today if all these people here to support it. My teammate Steve Goschalk, the Nerfinator, Steel Horse Racing, and Simlutions, Joe Hamilton for sponsoring USR and giving away that play seat tonight, I believe, to Jamie Walker. So congrats, Jamie Walker, and keep up the good work, man.
It was an exciting night nonetheless. Cody, thanks for everything you guys do. Thanks for sticking around. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. And thank y'all for what y'all do.
That is tonight's third place finisher. Upon an official review, Cody Gibson will replace Chris Baines in third, and we'll await official word post-race. And if the 82 machine's going to end up maybe back into P5 or so, or if he'll get an EOL penalty, which would drop him possibly all the way down to P12, with 12 drivers finishing on the lead lap, Andy. This is just a taste of what we're going to be seeing later on in 2016. Quite a prize, though, on the line. Our friends at Simlutions, Simulation Solutions, makers of everything you need for your rig and more. Esports racing and Simulation Solutions has got you covered with news, builds, and more. You can like them on Facebook at facebook.com/Simlutions. That is SIMLUTIONS. Proud sponsor of the Play Seat Racing Rig Prize here at USR. That one going to go to Jamie Walker, and they're going to be on board all through 2016, along with our friends at BNC Lawn and Landscaping, a longtime partner of the USR Truck Series, and there's going to be plenty more prizes to be given out. But if this is how they race, I'm excited for the chase, but we're still plenty of weeks away, 6 down, and that leaves us with 24 races still to go.
Yeah, there's a long ways to go for that championship. And then, like you said, once you get to the chase, it really changes everything anyway. It puts everybody right back on the same playing field, starting basically back at zero for the points. So that's when it really gets fun and interesting. And when you see that, this is, like you said, just a taste of what we're going to see. And if we're 6 races into it right here, and the points battle's as close as it is with the top 2, and that just means that the chase is going to be that good too when you get down to that point as well. So I guess you could say one segment down in this championship run, and we still got tons and tons of racing to do here on Saturday nights. And it's been fun so far, and these guys put on some great racing, some long green flag runs at a bunch of tracks, and we get to go do it short track style next week, which is always fun.
And if you like the drama and you like the flair for the dramatic, be there right here on LSRTV next Saturday night for LSRTV night on iRacing Live. And if you're new, want to thank you for tuning in and encourage you to join us. We basically have sim racing coverage almost every single night of the week. You can find an entire broadcast schedule on our website at livesimracing.com. As well, make sure to give us a like on social media, facebook.com/livesimracingtv. Stay up to date for all the latest information around the sim racing community and when you can find us live here on iRacing Live. So that does it. Round 6 goes to the wayside, and we move from Texas on to Bristol. So until next time, on behalf of everybody behind the scenes at LSRTV LLC and for the broadcast team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasolko, on behalf of Andy Kessler and Cisco Scaramuza, congratulations to Jamie Walker, big winner tonight at the Great American Speedway. We bid you good night from Fort Worth, Texas, and we'll see you at the last Great Coliseum next Saturday night. It's Bristol, baby, only on LSRTV.